about these inmates that have been recently executed. Recently executed inmates. Let's talk about it. Come on in here, y'all. Smash that like button.
Richer than ever, whipping a Tesla, cars, hoes, etc. Hit them with pressure, my niggas won't let up. Wake up, got $1 million in diamonds that sit on the dresser. Run up that chest, now I'm flexing my muscles up for like cause we come from nothing to only supplies. Fake love, we just holding them back. Flashbacks while you pouring the ice. Since a young nigga, he just wanted to shine. Used to daydream about thumbing through racks. Heat tough to get cold in the right. Tears fall while you losing the strap. Seen it all, you just wanna relax. I'm richer than I ever been. Put my heart before the bad worst shit I ever did. Gave you a second chance and you laugh again. In the days I used to wonder will we ever win.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy BishopLo. Welcome. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Tonight we're gonna be talking about these inmates, these death row inmates killed so far in 2026. Welcome. Do me a favor, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And then hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when we drop new content. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Let's get this disclaimer over with real quick.
disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
All right. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get into this little playlist I got set up. I got a little playlist set up, y'all. Trying to learn this shit here.
Yep. 2001, 20-year-old Bowman had an argument with 21-year-old Candy Louise Martin over a debt, which escalated into a fight.
Let's get into it, guys.
Multiple times in a wooded area. He then dragged her body, placed it in the trunk of a car, and set it on fire in a remote location.
Damn!
Hours earlier, he had threatened her, saying, "You'll be dead before nightfall." His cousin, James Taiwan Gadsden, testified against him, stating that he witnessed the crime and that Bowman had planned it. The evidence was conclusive. The weapon was recovered from a river and linked to the case through ballistic and DNA tests. In 2002, Bowman was sentenced to death. Over the years, he has maintained his innocence,
as
claiming
he
evidence
should.
was concealed and that racism played a role in his defense. The day before his execution,
What happened?
Bowman was offered a last meal.
Okay.
He requested fried seafood, wings and chicken strips, onion rings, banana pudding, German chocolate cake, and cranberry pineapple juice.
Gotta have them onion rings.
On January 31st, 2025, he was executed by lethal injection in South Carolina. As the execution chamber curtain opened, he briefly looked at his attorney, then at the ceiling before closing his eyes. When asked for his last words, he said, "Death row inmates may be labeled as the worst, but we've all changed since that moment that cost us everything. I know Candy's family suffers, and rightfully so, they're angry. If my death brings them some relief, then I guess it will have served some purpose. I hope they find." Stephen LaWayne Nelson. State, Texas. On March 3rd, 2011, at 24 years old, Nelson entered the North Point Baptist Church.
No five, salute, 6767. Mimi, welcome, Mimi.
Only Reverend Clint Dobson, 28.
What's happening? We are watching. We're talking about death row inmates executed.
Nelson,
thus far in 2026.
Prior assault, brutally attacked the victims. He beat and strangled Dobson with a computer cable before suffocating him with a plastic bag.
Give him indigestion right there and die.
Including
not all the shit they eat in the prison system. He would survive that.
But survived after a long recovery. After the crime, Nelson stole Dobson's laptop, Elliot's credit cards, and her car. He used the cards to buy clothes and jewelry and sold the laptop for money. The police quickly identified him through fingerprints and bloodstains on his shoes. He was arrested and convicted of capital murder, a crime in Texas punishable by death. Although another man was initially detained, the charges against him were dropped. On February 5th, 2025, Stephen LaWayne Nelson was executed by lethal injection.
Stephen LaWayne Nelson.
State Penitentiary.
Let's get him up out of here.
Since he was executed in Texas, he was not granted a last meal. He was declared dead at 6:50 p.m. Central Standard Time. Just before the injection, Nelson repeatedly told his wife, Helene Noah Dubois, that he loved her and was grateful.
Girl, I love you.
Dubois, who was watching from the witness room, raised a white service dog that she was allowed to bring in. "It is what it is," Nelson said. He then added, "Enjoy life." Before the lethal dose began, he said, "I'm not afraid, I'm at peace. Let's ride, Warden." When the pentobarbital started to take effect, he told his wife, "Let me sleep."
Mimi says she don't believe
His
in the
last
death
word
penalty.
was, "Love." before gasping twice and trying to catch his breath.
Too many
His
times they
body
get the
trembled
wrong
for a few
person.
seconds before becoming still.
Many times they do
He
get
was
the wrong
declared
person.
dead 24 minutes later.
And many times they
Demetrius Terrence Frasier,
fuck it up.
State, Alabama. On November 27th, 1991, Frasier broke into the apartment of 40-year-old Pauline Starks Brown in Birmingham, Alabama.
Smash that like button,
After
y'all.
forcibly waking her up, he demanded money and sexually assaulted her at
Money.
gunpoint. He then shot
And
her,
took the
and
pussy.
despite Brown pleading for her life,
Took the money and the
Frasier
pussy. He ain't
murdered
shit.
her before stealing the money. Months later, on March 8th, 1992, in Detroit, Michigan, Frasier attempted to assault 14-year-old Crystal Kendrick. He held her captive in an abandoned house, and when she tried to escape, he shot her, ending her life. Frasier was arrested shortly after in Michigan, where he confessed to both crimes. In 1996, he was convicted of the murder of Pauline Brown in Alabama and sentenced to death. In 2018, he chose to be executed by nitrogen hypoxia,
Oh, okay.
a method adopted in Alabama as
Little
an
gas.
alternative to lethal injection. The day before his execution, he was offered a last meal. Frasier requested Taco Bell food, including burritos and a Mountain Dew soda.
Oh, he wanted gas.
The state of Alabama
He wanted
executed
gas before the
Demetrius
gas.
Terrence Frasier on Thursday night using this method. He was declared dead at 6:36 p.m., according to Governor Kay Ivey's office. He became the fourth person to be executed in the state using this procedure. When asked for his last words, Frasier said, "First of all,
Shantae, good
I
evening.
want to apologize to the friends
Good to
and
see you. Good to
family
see
of
you.
Pauline Brown.
We looking
What
at these
happened to
death
her
row
should
inmates
never have happened.
that were executed thus
I want
far
to apologize."
in 2026.
James Dennis Ford,
Yeah, he looked like
State,
this old
Florida.
psycho.
In
motherfucker.
1997, James Ford invited Greg and Kimberly Mallory on a fishing trip.
Let's go
but he
fishing, y'all.
brutally attacked them.
Uh-oh.
Greg was shot in the head with a .22 rifle and
22.
then struck with an axe, while Kimberly was hit in the head and sexually assaulted before being murdered.
Oh, damn. Oh, dirty
Additionally,
motherfucker.
The couple's 22-month-old daughter was left in the truck for over 18 hours, exposed.
Oh,
and
yeah, we
covered
got
in
to
her
kill
mother's
this son of a
blood.
bitch. Yeah, he got to go.
Ford was found
Oh, look
guilty
at
of
him. Yeah,
murder,
he. Oh, yeah.
sexual assault,
Oh, hacksaw
and
Jim
child
Duggan,
abuse.
mankind looking
The
motherfucker. You going
brutality
up out
the
of here.
case and the vulnerability of the child further aggravated
You gotta
his
go.
crime. Despite multiple appeals, his death sentence was upheld in 1999.
Praise
He
Lord.
has remained on death row at Florida State Prison since
Until
then. In recent years, the application of the death penalty in Florida has been inconsistent. In 2024, only one execution took place, in contrast to the 6 carried out.
well,
in
when we gonna get his
2023.
carried out?
However, Governor Ron DeSantis
That's the same
signed
motherfucker?
Ford's execution order,
Shit.
marking the end of a period of inactivity.
He looked like a
in the
reformed
state.
homosexual Roman
The day
Catholic
before his
priest
execution,
in the
he
second
was
picture.
offered a last meal.
The first picture, he looked like
Ford
mankind.
requested steak, macaroni and cheese, fried okra,
Hacksaw Jim
sweet
Duggan.
potato, pumpkin pie,
Okay.
and sweet tea.
Pumpkin pie.
When asked for his last words,
Uh-huh.
James Dennis Ford had nothing to say on Thursday night while lying strapped to a gurney before the 25 witnesses present. However, the Department of Prisons reported that Ford wrote a message on paper, which read, "Hugs, prayers, love. God bless you all." Richard
Bye.
Lee Tobler, State, Texas. In November 2004, Richard Lee Tabler murdered Muhammad Ramouni, a nightclub manager, and his friend Zed in Ken, Texas.
Oh, two. He got two.
Tobler, along with his accomplice Timothy Don Payne, lured Ramouni under the pretense of selling him sound equipment. Upon arriving at the location, they ambushed him.
Ambush.
Shooting Zed first, then Ramouni.
Ambush
He was shot
style.
again as he was dragged from the car.
Damn.
After committing the double murder,
Uh-huh.
Tabler stole Ramouni's wallet and other items from the vehicle, while Payne filmed the crime with a video camera.
Oh.
Tabler later called the police to take responsibility and threatened more murders.
Mm-hmm.
2 days later, on November 28th, Tabler murdered Amanda Benefield and Tiffany Lorraine.
Oh, this nigga went on a
Two
spree. He getting them
teenagers who
two at a
worked at
time.
the same nightclub.
This motherfucker was getting them 2 at a time, yo. What you think about the death penalty for this bastard?
Tabler kept calling the police.
Getting them 2 at a time now.
Making new threats. Tabler was arrested and sentenced
what
to
you
death
think,
for
Mimi?
4 murders.
You starting to change your mind about that death penalty a little bit?
Threats he made after the crimes.
I used to not believe in the death penalty.
Richard Lee Tabler was executed at the age of 46.
And then I had kids.
At 6:38 p.m.
Anybody?
He was declared dead after receiving a lethal
I
dose
know
of
that's right,
Barbaro.
Shante.
Tabler was the second man executed in Texas in 2025. In his final statement, Tabler apologized.
Are you in Dallas, Texas, Mimi? I got a sister-in-law in Dallas, Texas.
Present during the execution.
Mm-hmm.
He also thanked his family.
She worked at MD Anderson Hospital. She's a nurse there. The cancer
Not
hospital.
a day goes by that I don't regret my actions. I had no right to take their loved ones.
You sure didn't.
And I ask and pray.
But the state got the right to take your life.
You find it in your hearts to forgive me for those actions.
No problem.
None of my apologies will bring.
Flip that switch. You've been forgiven.
Brad Keith Sigman. Method of execution. Firing squad.
Oh.
Brad Sigman and Rebecca Barber had been in a 3-year relationship and lived together.
Damn, he looked like a
But
porn
in
star
early
in the last picture.
2001, she ended things and moved in with her parents. Sigman, obsessed,
He got that heavy-set John Holmes look on
and
him.
insisting they get back together. The night
Y'all remember
before
John
the crime,
Holmes, don't you?
Sigman took charge with his friend Eugene Strube, to whom he revealed his plan to break into the Larka home.
And that's where he
tie up her
fucked up,
parents,
when he revealed that
and
plan to
force
his boy.
Barber to talk to
That's
her.
exactly where he fucked up.
Strube refused to participate, but Sigman went ahead alone. The next morning, he broke into the house and brutally attacked David and Gladys with a baseball bat.
Brutally
And
attacked.
repeatedly in the head until they died.
My
He
God.
then stole David's gun and waited
Savage.
for Barber to return. When
Barbaric.
Barber arrived, Sigman threatened her with the gun
Heinous.
and forced her into his car.
Oof.
He planned to take her to North Carolina,
Uh-huh.
but she managed to jump out and escape.
The bitch got out.
He fired at her as she ran.
Did he get her?
Barber survived
Oh,
and was
shit.
hospitalized.
Oh, he hit her?
Police
Look at
launched a
this
manhunt
motherfucker.
and issued arrest
John
warrants
Holmes
for
looking
murder,
more. He looking to the right.
kidnapping,
That left
and
eye
assault
looking
with
to the
intent to
left and the
kill.
right eye looking straight.
Sigman
The
was
fuck?
on the run for 11
Goddamn
days until
weirdo.
he was captured in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and extradited to South Carolina.
Get his ass back to South Carolina.
Brad Sigman's trial began on July 18th, 2002 in South Carolina.
So we can get rid of this
From
son
the
of a
first
bitch.
day, the prosecution presented overwhelming evidence against him, including the baseball bat used to take the lives of David and Gladys Lark.
Baseball bat.
During the crime scene reconstruction,
Boy, I went to batting practice.
Detective Mike McNamara timed the distance Sigman covered inside the house while attacking both victims.
Not Detective Mike
During the
McNamara.
trial, Brad Sigman displayed photographs of Rebecca Barber
Uh-huh.
for no apparent reason,
No reason whatsoever.
confusing those in the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
During sentencing, Cheryl Tomberlin, Sigman's ex-wife,
Uh-huh, what'd she do?
testified about the domestic violence
I knew she was
endured
going
during
to.
their marriage,
I knew it.
reinforcing his violent history.
Mm-hmm.
The victims' relatives, including Darrell Lark and Renee Smith, also testified,
Oh, yeah, he done.
describing the devastating impact the crime had on their
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of
lives.
testimony against you, bro.
That same day, the jury sentenced him to death.
Same day. We ain't got
As
to
the decision
deliberate.
was
No,
read,
they ain't come back
his
tomorrow.
mother, Virginia Wooten,
Get rid of this
broke
motherfucker.
down in tears, while Rebecca Barber watched in silence.
Mm-hmm.
Sigman looked at her one last time before being escorted out of the courtroom. It has been 23 years since Brad Sigman was sentenced to death.
Mm-hmm.
For over 2 decades on death row, he filed multiple appeals, but all were denied.
Why? Mm-hmm.
Finally, his
Why you-
execution was scheduled for March 7th.
Look, bro.
Brad
March 7th.
Sigman chose the firing squad over lethal injection.
Uh-huh.
His attorneys argued that he made this decision due to concerns raised after recent executions involving a massive dose of pentobarbital. While
Pentobarbital.
witnesses stated that inmates appeared to lose consciousness within minutes, reports indicated they were not pronounced dead until at least 20 minutes later.
Oh, shit.
In 2022,
Just gonna be laying there comatose and shit.
$54,000 to construct a firing squad chamber inside.
Shit sound pretty
its
easy. I
execution
don't think we want to
facility,
do it that easy for you,
located
bro.
near the electric chair.
Get your ass in front of this firing
Bulletproof
squad.
glass was installed in the witness room,
Bitch ass.
along with a chair equipped with a drainage system for blood collection.
Blood collection.
And a wall to conceal the shooters.
It's gonna be some blood.
Witnesses could see the inmate's profile, but not those pulling the trigger.
Oh.
The firing squad became an alternative after prison officials.
I don't think it matters if the inmates see who's shooting them or not at that fucking point, right? The fuck does it matter? It's gonna be the last fucking thing they see. And they ain't gonna be able to tell who shot him.
No South Carolina governor has granted clemency in the
Who they gonna tell? Peter at the gate?
Reinstated, and Sigman was no exception. Since 1976, only 3 people have been executed.
Since 1976, the year I come along. 3
all
people
in Utah.
been killed. You hear that?
The last was in 2010. Witnesses could see the inmate's profile, but not those pulling the trigger. The firing squad became an alternative after
the
prison
witnesses,
officials
okay.
struggled to obtain lethal injection drugs. Even after a law was passed to protect the identity of drug suppliers, the new method remained an option. No South Carolina governor has granted clemency in the 49 years since the death penalty was reinstated.
Not
And
once.
Sigman was no exception.
You get that shit, you going the fuck up out of here in
Only
South
3
Carolina.
people have been executed by firing squad in the U.S., all in Utah. The last was in 2010. Now, Sigman will become the first prisoner to be executed this way in South Carolina. One day before being taken to the death chamber, Sigman requested his
And you
last
better hope they
meal.
don't put a blind motherfucker like me on the
Initially, he
firing
asked for
squad.
3 buckets of Kentucky Fried
I'm gonna hit you at
Chicken's
least
original
7 times and
recipe,
say I ain't see you,
intending
goddamn
to
it.
share them with his death row
So don't fuck around out
companions.
here now.
But that request was denied. Instead, Sigman was served a more modest meal. 4 pieces of fried chicken, green beans, mashed potatoes with gravy,
Got that nigga
biscuits, cheesecake,
a 4-piece
and sweet
from
tea,
Churches.
according to the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
And put some arsenic
On
in that
March
shit
the
too.
7th, 2025,
Fuck it, he leaving anyway.
Brad
Put that
Sigman
arsenic in
was
that shit.
executed in South Carolina by firing squad, a method not used in the United States for the past 15 years. Sigman was strapped to a specially designed chair.
Strap him
with a
up!
hood placed over his head.
Hood him up!
3 prison staff volunteers aimed their rifles at his heart, and, at the director's command, each of them fired live ammunition.
Lock your weapon!
According to witnesses,
Fire!
the bullets struck Sigman's chest, right above the heart.
Right above the heart.
It was instantaneous, the witnesses commented. When the shots were fired, it was very
Somebody
hard
couldn't
to
fucking,
predict
3 motherfuckers couldn't shoot. We said in the heart, nigga. What the hell is this? This is above his heart.
in the room flinched.
Is he dead? Yeah, he
There was
dead.
only
But damn it,
one
you
place
ain't
where I could see
get him where we told you to.
damage.
You fired.
Makes me think the bullets were all grouped together.
You going to work in the kitchen.
Sigman was declared dead at 6:08 p.m.
Is he dead?
According
That's
to
not the
those
point,
present in the
motherfucker. We
room.
told you to shoot him in the heart.
During his last words,
The hell?
Sigman expressed his opposition to the death penalty,
Why?
quoting 4 Bible passages that, according to him, showed that nowhere in the New Testament does God give man the authority to kill another man.
He damn sure did in the Old Testament. I tell you that shit. And there was plenty of it.
Final statement of love.
So we're going to go with the Old Testament for your old ass. All right, buddy? Don't worry about it.
To the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we are under God's grace and mercy.
Sir, we don't give a fuck what
said
your Bible say. We got to get you up out of here.
Gerald
The
was
court,
named
the judge said you got to go.
attorney and a
Okay?
witness to the
So
execution.
the hell with what your Bible and your God say. You, sir, you going to leave here. Okay? You going up out of here.
In a statement, he said, "It's unimaginable that in 2025, South Carolina would execute one of its citizens in this bloody spectacle.
Well, how did you kill
The
your
execution
victim?
was a deeply shocking event.
Oh,
for
yeah, that's
all
nice.
those
Look at that
present.
shit. That's how the
Rebecca
firing
Armstrong,
squad shit go?
Sigman's ex-girlfriend, mentioned in her first interview in the 24 years
That's from a
since
short
the
distance,
murder
too.
of her
You going up
parents,
out of here, bro. You
that
ain't
Sigman's
surviving that shit.
actions destroyed her family. However, she pointed
What you
out
think about that death penalty now, man? Come on.
life imprisonment should have been the option for his sentence. Despite this, she expressed that she did not.
This looks
agree
like
with
the
his
booking
execution.
photos of PDFs.
Death should be something
PDF
only God
files.
decides.
They all look a little sick, right, Mimi?
Executed by nitrogen hypoxia.
They got some weird faces, boy.
1996, 18-year-old Jesse D. Hoffman Jr. kidnapped 28-year-old Mary Elliott, an advertising executive in downtown New Orleans. After forcing her to withdraw...
Oh, hell yeah, that firing squad is a thing. It's
he drove
back.
her to a
Shit.
remote area in St. Tammany
They done got
Parish,
3 in Utah.
where he assaulted and ended her life. Hoffman was arrested and charged with first-degree murder.
He look a little sick,
During
too,
his
in the
trial,
eyes.
the jury
Sick
found him
bastard.
guilty, and on September 11th, 1998, he was sentenced to death. Despite appeals, on March 18th, 2025, Hoffman
Day
was
after my
executed
mother's
by
birthday.
nitrogen hypoxia at the Louisiana State Penitentiary.
Gas him up.
Before his execution, Hoffman declined to make a final statement and chose not to have a special last meal.
Okay.
According to reports, Hoffman was reported to the execution
Simba, what the
chamber
fuck
at
are you doing?
6:12 p.m. The prison officials were gas
Simba,
for
y'all.
about 19 minutes, and he was declared dead
Could
at
you move?
6:50 p.m. A state official acknowledged that during the execution, Hoffman showed convulsive movements before becoming still, experiencing pain in a manner similar to the first execution by this method of Kenneth Eugene Smith. Aaron Gunches, executed by lethal injection. On November 14th, 2002,
Spoiled bastard.
Aaron Brian Gunches went to his house in Mesa, Arizona.
That's Simba, y'all. Simba.
Upon arrival, he forced Ted Price to get into his car with the supposed intention of taking him to a bus station. However, realizing he didn't have money for a ticket, he drove him to a desert area along
Kill
the
him.
Beeline Highway.
I ain't got no money, so I'm
There,
gonna kill him.
He shot Price 4 times,
It's fucking
ending
crazy.
his life. On January 15th, 2003,
Day my
an
daddy
Arizona
died.
public
Oh,
safety
shit.
officer stopped
January
Price
15, 2003, the day my daddy died exactly. Holy shit. Yo, my pops died 1/15/2003. That's crazy.
Price to get
My-
into his car with the supposed intention of taking him
Oh,
to a
boy.
bus station.
I miss you, Pops.
However,
Sorry, y'all. Had a moment.
realizing
light this
he
blunt.
didn't have money for a ticket,
I wish I had some
he
fucking
drove
Baileys.
to a
If I had some
desert
Baileys,
area
I'd be
along
all right.
the Beeline Highway. There, he shot Price 4 times, ending his life. On January 15th, 2003,
This seems
an
like it's
Arizona
bad for
public
your
safety
soul.
officer
What you mean?
stopped Gunches at a traffic checkpoint. Gunches fired twice at the officer before fleeing, leading to a chase involving more than 50 officers.
Look at that smirk on his face.
He was arrested the following day, found
What?
hiding in a barn in Wendell.
Hiding in the barn
In
like a little
2004,
bitch.
he pled guilty to the crime, and in 2008, he was sentenced to death. Since then, he has repeatedly requested his own execution and criticized the state for not carrying it out.
Oh, wow.
Although his execution, scheduled for April 6, 2023, was postponed. After new legal proceedings, the Arizona Supreme Court
Did we get him up out of here?
execution for March 19th, 2025
Oh, wow. He aged horribly.
by lethal injection.
See ya.
One day before his execution, he was offered a last meal, which consisted of a double Western-style burger, spicy gyros, onion rings, and baklava. Gunch's execution...
And a handful of arsenic. Why they keep forgetting the arsenic in this shit? Oh, they're not gonna tell us. That's what it is. They ain't gonna tell us they slipped the arsenic in that shit.
Edward James, executed by lethal injection.
Another sick looking fuck.
1993. Edward James returned.
He just
home
looked like a
to
nasty
Harvey
old pedo.
and found the grandchildren of Elizabeth and Betty Dick
See?
sleeping in the living room.
See that shit? The sick
He
bastard
approached
killing kids.
9-year-old Tony Nooner and committed a violent act
Oh.
that left her unconscious.
Okay.
He then took her to a private area of the home
Told you.
where he assaulted her.
You look like a sick fuck.
Tragically, Tony later died from the injuries sustained. Subsequently, James entered Betty Dick's bedroom and attacked her violently using
Betty
a heavy
Dick.
object and a knife, inflicting severe injuries.
Betty Dick ain't never did nothing to
The
nobody.
commotion alerted her 9-year-old granddaughter, Wendy, who entered the room. James restrained her before leaving the residence. Shortly after, he fled in his car, taking some belongings with him.
That shit should have
The
crashed
case
over
was featured on America's
or
Most
flew
Wanted,
off a cliff in his
which
haste.
generated numerous calls with tips about his whereabouts. He was eventually captured on October 6th in 1993 at an unemployment office in Bakersfield, California.
Trying to get some government benefits.
On April 5th, 1995, James pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder, along with other charges including aggravated child abuse and kidnapping.
Aggravated child abuse and kidnapping.
Year, he was sentenced to death.
What you think, Mimi?
He is currently held at Florida State Prison and is scheduled to be executed on March 20th, 2025. James was executed on March 20th, shortly after 8 p.m., approximately 9 hours after Grissom's execution. He was declared dead.
Mike says death penalty.
After receiving a lethal injection.
Supercut.
There was a 2-hour delay.
Seems like it would
time for James' execution
have a negative
execution,
effect on a person.
Florida authorities did not explain the reason for the delay. While waiting for the injection, James expressed that he did not want to make a final statement. During the administration of the drugs, he struggled to breathe, curled his arms, and then remained still. What he did say was a final statement when sentenced to death, accepting his actions. I don't want to die, but I believe it's the right punishment for what I did.
Well, as long as you believe that, brother,
I'm just going to exist.
Go in peace.
As much as
Flip that fucking switch.
I truly feel in my heart that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Wendell Grissom. Executed by lethal injection.
Gone.
In November 2005, in Blaine County, Oklahoma, Wendell Grom and Johns,
hey man,
after drinking whiskey and discussing
this shit gonna burn a little bit. Don't worry about it, you be. Look how sick that motherfucker look, man. These niggas look sick.
Entering the residence,
look at them ears. Got some big ass ears, boy.
Who was at the house with his 2 dogs.
He heard when they was coming for his ass. Look at little Amber.
Although Cop attempted to negotiate, Grom shot him in the head. Matthews, attempting to escape with the baby,
was
struck by Grom, who shot her in the back of the head and then in the forehead.
Wow.
After the murders, Grom and Johns fled in a vehicle they found in the garage and were arrested at a nearby convenience store.
Thieves.
At trial, Grom was convicted of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and other charges. Amber Matthews, 23, died while trying to protect the children, adding further tragedy to the crime. Johns was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility.
No, we need to get him up out of there.
Grom's execution is scheduled for March 20th, 2025, with a clemency hearing scheduled.
Nope. Let's get him going.
Before his execution, he was offered his last meal.
What happened?
Grissom chose a supreme pizza with Canadian bacon, half a liter of vanilla ice cream, and half a liter of Coca-Cola.
Half a liter.
Wendell Grissom was executed on March 20th by lethal injection. His last words were, "I apologize to everyone for the harm I have caused.
All right, thanks.
I deeply regret having instilled that hatred in your hearts.
Well,
you did. I sincerely regret what I did.
That's all right.
Not only because it brought me here, but because I can't even imagine the trauma, pain, and suffering I caused to the victims and their families. It saddens me greatly to have sown so much hatred in your hearts, because I am not the person the state of Oklahoma has portrayed me to be."
Well, who you gonna be now is
method of execution:
a corpse.
Lethal injection.
Lethal injection.
In April 2000, Janet Acosta, a worker at the Miami Herald, was reading a book in her truck in the parking lot of her workplace.
Hey, don't be reading no books in the parking lot of your jobs.
Asked for a cigarette and then brutally hit her in the face. After the attack, he kidnapped her and took her to the Florida Keys, where he continued to assault her, robbed her, raped her, and ultimately strangled her to death.
Mimi, what you think?
He then abandoned her body on a remote island.
What you think, Mimi?
It was later discovered by authorities. Tanzi pled guilty to first-degree murder, kidnapping, and armed robbery.
Hey, what's your opinion? Let me start a fucking Q&A right now. How you start a fucking Q&A?
Since then, he filed multiple appeals and motions to overturn his sentence.
How you start a fucking Q&A, man?
Tanzi was executed by lethal injection on April the 16th, 2025, making it the 3rd execution in Florida that year. The day before his execution,
he don't even look how dark his eye. He don't even have no eyes. Look how dark. Did y'all see that shit? If there's such a thing as a demon, it'd be that motherfucker. Where are his eyes?
2003, a jury unanimously recommended the death penalty. Since then, he filed multiple appeals and motions to overturn his sentence, all of which were denied. Tanzi was executed by lethal injection on April the 16th, 2025.
Do you see the progression over the years? Where did his eyes go? This evil bastard. This demon. That's crazy, y'all. His fucking eyes just like, what the fuck? It's weird.
Making it the third execution
Am I tripping?
that year. The day before his execution, he was offered
Oh yeah, I was
a
gonna
final meal,
see if I could
which
start a
included
Q&A.
fried pork, bacon,
Okay,
a
hold on,
baked
let me
potato,
see.
corn, ice cream, a chocolate bar.
Hey, I created a goal, man. Can y'all help me out?
Was confirmed after a
Shit.
cocktail was administered
Niggas kill me, boy.
Before dying,
Like pulling teeth with you,
to make a
motherfuckers.
final statement.
How you start a Q&A? I don't even see the Q&A thing down here no more.
Apologize to the family of Janet Acosta
What
and
the
Caroline
fuck?
Holder for taking their lives.
Q&A. Nope.
He then recited a Bible verse. Heavenly Father,
Turn this
please
shit
do
off.
not hold those who don't know what they are doing accountable.
Oh, Lord.
He was declared dead at 8 p.m. Michael spent 22 years on death row before being executed. Mikhail Deen Mahdi.
I don't see no Q&A, man.
Firing squad. In July 2004.
Hey, I got 11 people in here and 6 likes. Can I get 5 thumbs up, please?
Of crimes across several states, committing vehicle thefts,
Or fuck me.
robberies, and 3 murders.
Or is it fuck me? Is that what it is?
Mahdi killed Greg Jones in Brunswick County, Virginia, after a drug deal went wrong. Then, on July 15th, 2004, he robbed and killed Christopher
I guess
Jason
it's fuck
Boggs,
me then. Okay.
a convenience store employee in
I can handle
Winston-Salem,
that.
North Carolina. 2 days later, in Columbia, South Carolina, he kidnapped a man and stole his vehicle.
Guess where he fucked up?
To a farm
Did that shit in South Carolina.
County, where he murdered James Myers, a 56-year-old off-duty police officer, doused his body in diesel fuel, and attempted to set it on fire. Mahdi was arrested in Florida on July 21st, 2004, while driving Myers' stolen truck. After being extradited, he was sentenced to death in 2006 in South Carolina for the murder of Myers. In 2011, he received a life sentence in North Carolina for the murder of Boggs. He was never tried in Virginia for the murder of Greg Jones, though he confessed to the crime. While in prison, Mahdi attempted to murder a guard with another inmate in 2009, though the attempt was unsuccessful.
Oh, he
Despite
fucked up.
multiple appeals, his death sentence was upheld. On April 11th, 2025,
Mimi, what you think, Mimi?
Mahdi was executed by firing squad at the Broad River Correctional Institution, becoming the second person to be executed by
Mimi
this
don't believe in the
South
death
Carolina,
penalty.
and the 5th in the United States since
Trying to help her out.
1976.
Well, beliefs and
The
shit.
firing squad shot at 6:01 p.m. Mahdi groaned and breathed for about 80 seconds before becoming motionless. He was declared dead at 6:05 p.m.
80 seconds.
Mahdi did not offer any last words.
Okay, thank
His
you.
final meal consisted of a medium-rare ribeye steak,
Is that a donut?
mushroom risotto, broccoli, collard greens, cheesecake, and sweet tea.
I thought that's a donut.
Mahdi's attorney, David Weiss,
Oh, he like
who
collard,
was one of the
so.
witnesses to the execution, criticized the execution, calling it barbaric and a horrific act that belongs in the darkest chapters of history.
They feel like you do,
in a
Mimi.
civilized society. Mahdi spent 19 years on death row before being executed. In March 2004,
Sorry, y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Mendoza kidnapped the young mother from her home, took her to a field, sexually assaulted her, strangled her, and then stabbed her. He later burned her body and left it in a remote location. Tolson's 5-month-old baby was found alive the following day, but her body was not discovered until 6 days later.
6 days later.
Mendoza confessed to the murder, although he denied sexually assaulting the victim.
6 days
claiming
later,
that
y'all.
she left with him willingly. He led investigators to the site where he abandoned the body and provided further evidence that implicated him in the crime. The prosecution demonstrated a growing pattern of violence in his history. including other robberies and assaults. The defense presented witnesses who spoke of his deep depression at the end of his teenage years as a mitigating factor. However, the Collin County prosecutor's
Deep depression
office
was a
argued that
mitigating
Mendoza
factor.
showed no remorse, and even appeared to take pride in his actions. Before his execution,
I don't think
Mendoza
that defense
offered his
worked.
last words.
She found up on death
I
row.
regret stealing Rochelle's life, he said, also acknowledging that he had stolen Tollison's daughter's mother. He added, I'm sorry. I don't know if anything I say or do can make up for it. I want you to know that I'm sincere. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Then
We'll
he
take that.
briefly spoke in Spanish to his wife, his sister, and 2 friends present.
Hey, keep that
I
shit in
love you.
English, bro.
I'm with you. I'm fine and at peace. You know I'm okay and it's all love. The victim's daughter was not present for the execution. Mendoza was executed by lethal injection and was declared dead at 6:40 p.m. at the Huntsville State Penitentiary in Texas. Moises Sandoval Mendoza spent approximately 21 years on death row before being executed. James Osgood. Method of execution, lethal injection.
Old Jimmy, huh?
In October 2010, Tracy Lynn Weileman,
I thought that was Dana
44-year-old
Plato.
mother, was rebuilding
Kimberly
her life
from
after
Different
a
Strokes.
divorce.
I thought this
In
nigga
Clanton,
killed Kimberly,
Alabama,
but she
Osgood
killed
and
herself.
his accomplice, Tanya Van Dyke, attacked Weileman in her bedroom, raped her, and forced her to have sex with them.
My God.
Later, Osgood slit her throat multiple times and stabbed her in the back, ultimately ending her life.
Oh,
They were
wow.
captured shortly afterward. Tanya Van Dyke was sentenced to life in prison for her involvement in the crime, while James Osgood was sentenced to death.
As she should.
In his confession to the Chilton County Sheriff's Department, Osgood stated that he saw fear in Weileman's eyes, and although he repeatedly injured her, he felt no anger, only the need to end her life. He even claimed to have apologized to the victim during the attack, saying it was nothing personal. During the trial, Senior Assistant District Attorney C.J. Robinson described the crime as a twisted fantasy, pointing out that Osgood enjoyed the act. In a resentencing hearing in 2018, Osgood declared that he firmly believed in the principle of an eye for an
An
eye.
eye for an eye and
For
a
that reason,
tooth
he would not appeal,
for a tooth. I
accepting
know
that
that's
he
right.
deserved to die.
Q&A,
Osgood
guys,
received
Q&A.
11 visits on the day of his death. His last meal before being executed was pizza. In his final words, he addressed the victim saying, I apologize. James Osgood died crying. He was executed by lethal injection and was declared dead at 6:35
He cried,
p.m.,
y'all.
becoming the second execution.
Was he
of the
crying
year in
when he did them
Alabama
fucking
and
murders?
The 14th in the United States.
Was he crying when he broke the
Osgood
law?
spent approximately 14 years on death row before being executed. Jeffrey Glenn Hutchinson, State, Florida. In 1998, at the age of 35, in Crestview, Florida, Jeffrey Hutchinson committed a crime that shocked the community. That night, after an argument with his girlfriend Renee Flaherty, Hutchinson left the house and returned armed with a shotgun. Inside the home, he shot and killed Renee and her 3 children, Jeffrey, 9, Amanda, 7, and Logan, 4. Shortly afterward, he called 911 and confessed, saying,
6'7",
"I just
6'7".
shot
Yo,
my
y'all
family."
niggas dead.
Police
I'm
found
about to
him at
shut
the
this
scene
shit
with
down and
clear
go to bed,
evidence
man.
linking him to the crime, including gunshot residue on his hands and bloodstains on his clothes. After his arrest, Hutchinson was brought to trial in 2001. The prosecution presented strong evidence directly tying him to the murders. The defense argued that Hutchinson suffered from bipolar disorder and had sustained brain damage during his service in the Gulf War. They also suggested that others may have been involved in the killings. However, the jury rejected these claims and found him guilty on 4 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death for the murders of the children and to life in prison for Renee's murder. In the years that followed, Hutchinson filed multiple appeals based on mental health issues and alleged trial irregularities. Veterans groups and human rights organizations urged the Florida governor to intervene.
arguing that Hutchinson's wartime trauma impaired his criminal responsibility. Nevertheless, Governor Ron DeSantis signed the execution warrant, denying clemency. The execution was carried out on May 1st, 2025, at 6 p.m. at the Florida State Prison in Rayford. Hutchinson was 62 years old. The method used was lethal injection, which took approximately 15 minutes and proceeded without incident. For his final meal, Hutchinson chose salmon, mahi-mahi, asparagus, a baked potato, and iced tea. He offered no final words, although he was heard whispering a prayer during the procedure. Glenn Edward Rogers. State, Florida. He was born on July 15, 1962 in Ohio. He was one of 7 siblings. He dropped out of school before turning 16 and married his teenage girlfriend. They had 2 children, but the marriage was a nightmare. His wife accused him of domestic abuse. After that, Glenn's life spiraled into theft, scams, and bar fights until he started killing. His first confirmed murder happened on September 28, 1995. Sandra Gallagher, a mother of 3, was seen leaving a bar in California with Glenn. The next day, her burned body was found inside her pickup truck. She had been strangled. Rogers fled the state. In Mississippi, he met Linda Price at a fair. She found him charming and let him move in with her. A few days later, Linda was found dead in her bathtub. Then, in Florida, he murdered Tina Marie Cribbs.
Tina Marie?
Glenn met her at a bar.
It's crazy
She
looking
offered
at
to
these
take him
old
to her
pictures and
motel.
shit.
2 days later,
Vintage
motel staff
pictures
found
of people?
Tina's body in the bathtub.
From
She
the
had been
80s?
stabbed in the chest and buttocks.
Stabbed in the
Glenn
chest
escaped
and
in her
buttocks.
car. 4 days later,
But
on
escaped.
November 9th, 1995, he murdered Andy Giles Sutton in Louisiana.
This fucking
She was
chat
found
must be
naked,
off. What the
stabbed,
fuck?
and lying on a waterbed that he had punctured. At this point, Glenn seemed completely out of control. He was finally arrested on November 13th, 1995 in Kentucky after a chase in a stolen car.
Gotcha, bitch.
Following his arrest, he claimed to have killed more than 70 people.
70 people.
However, he was only convicted for 4
Hacksaw
of
Jim
those
Duggan looking
murders.
motherfucker.
Rogers also claimed responsibility for the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, the ex-wife of O.J. Simpson.
Oh, we definitely
There's
get
no
your ass
evidence
up out of here.
linking
You
Rogers to
lying
the
and
crime
shit.
scene, but O.J.
We all know
Simpson's
O.J. did
defense
that
team
shit.
mentioned him as another
He
possible
told us if he
suspect
did
in the
it
case.
in the book. What the fuck is wrong with the world?
In 1997, Glenn was sentenced to death in Florida for the murder of Tina Cribbs. 2 years later, he received another death sentence in California.
Good evening,
for killing
Teresa.
Sandra
Welcome.
Gallagher.
Welcome.
In total,
Welcome in
only
the
4
room.
murders were officially confirmed. Rogers' brother, Clay Rogers, told
Tennessee.
CNN, "I'm absolutely
Got my
certain
grandmother
my
buried
brother
in
Glenn
Franklin,
killed
Tennessee
Nicole
right now.
Simpson and Ron Goldman.
Shout out
I know he
Tennessee.
did it because I've seen proof that he was there." Earlier this year, Rogers requested a new hearing to present
That's the guy who
evidence that
supposedly
he had
killed
suffered
Nicole Brown Simpson. Y'all don't miss that.
for the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, the ex-wife of O.J. Simpson. There's no evidence linking Rogers to the crime scene, but O.J. Simpson's
Solar.
defense team mentioned him as another possible suspect
Welcome.
in the case. In
Solar
1997, Glenn was sentenced
Solar
to death in
Shosha.
Florida for the murder of Tina Cribbs.
Welcome.
2 years later, he received another death sentence in California.
2
for
death
killing
sentences.
Sandra Gallagher.
Nigga, when you
In
die,
total, only
we
4
gonna bury
murders
your
were
ass.
officially confirmed.
we're gonna 24
Rogers'
hours
brother,
later,
Clay
we're gonna
Rogers,
dig your ass
told
up.
CNN,
We're gonna kill you again.
"I'm absolutely certain my brother Glenn killed Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman. I know he did it because I've seen proof that he was there." Earlier this year, Rogers requested a new hearing to present evidence that he had suffered repeated sexual abuse during childhood, hoping the jury would commute his sentence to life in prison.
Nope.
That
You getting up
request
out of
was
here, nigga.
denied. His legal team
Denied.
also argued that Rogers suffered from porphyria, a rare condition that could cause extreme pain during lethal injection.
Oh, well, he gonna
making
suffer
the
from
execution
death
process inhumane.
regardless, so.
That appeal was also denied.
Yeah, denied.
Since Florida does not offer alternative methods.
Nigga,
such
you
as
getting this
firing
jam.
squad
You
or
getting this
gas
juice,
chamber.
bro. What the fuck you talking about?
After nearly 30 years on death row, all his appeals were exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
On April 15th, 2025, the governor of Florida signed his final death warrant.
Uh-huh.
Glenn Rogers woke up at 3:45 a.m. on the day of his execution.
And what happened?
For his last meal, he requested pizza, chocolate, and a soda.
Okay.
That same day, he received a visit from his wife.
What'd she say?
His brother, who
What'd
had
he
traveled
say?
from Kentucky, visited him the day before
What'd he
and
say?
then returned home.
Ain't said
On May
nothing?
15th, 2025,
Strapped him up.
Glenn Edward Rogers was executed by lethal injection.
Getting that juice.
Correctional institution in Florida. The drugs began to flow shortly after.
Hey, look, now this is it's gonna sting a little
He was
bit.
pronounced dead at 6:30 p.m.
But don't worry about it. You ain't gonna remember
According
it.
to eyewitnesses, Rogers appeared to suffer for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
His body trembled slightly.
Slightly.
And his breathing was irregular.
Irregular.
It was not an immediate or peaceful death. When asked for his final words,
Neither was
he
his
gave
victims.
one of the most bizarre statements heard in recent times.
What'd he say?
I know there are a lot of questions that still need answers.
We can't get them
I
now.
promise you, you'll have them very soon.
How?
And I hope that somehow it helps you close this chapter. Then,
What?
with unsettling calm,
What's the
he
answers?
added, President Trump, keep making America great. I'm ready to begin.
Oh, hurry up and get this
The
motherfucker up
reaction
out of
in the
here.
room was confusion.
Crazy son of a bitch.
Randy Roberson, son of one of the victims, said, I wondered, where did that come from? His wife, Amy Roberson, who also witnessed the execution, said,
That's one of the BGs. That's Bill Gibbs. That's one of the Gibbs brothers right there.
Even in his
Y'all put the
final
wrong
moments,
picture up. That's
Glenn
Michael
Rogers
Gibbs
managed to bewilder
from the
everyone
Bee
in the
Gees.
room, leaving
Well, you
behind
can
a
tell
legacy
them
of horror
them
and
niggas.
one last line no one saw coming.
That's one of the Gibbs boys.
Benjamin
Right there.
Ritchie.
Oh, he
State,
ain't that get too
Indiana.
happy. He too happy to be in prison
It
now.
was
Fuck that shit.
September 29th,
You got to hurry up and get his
2000 in
ass right. He's
Beach Grove,
smiling
Indiana.
and shit.
That night, a white pickup truck was reported stolen at a
Hold
nearby
on,
gas
wait a
station.
minute. Was that a fucking Mercedes
Shortly
police car?
after-
Where the fuck were we at? Was that a Benz, like an E-Class?
Line no one saw coming.
There go Mr. BG again, Mr. Gibbs.
Benjamin Ritchie.
Hey, let's look and see what kind of
State, Indiana.
Indiana.
It was September
Nah. Hold on.
29th, 2000.
That's definitely a goddamn Mercedes. Okay? Don't fucking play with me. One thing I know is cars. And that's a damn Mercedes. In Indiana?
Benjamin Ritchie.
It can't be a police car.
State, Indiana. It was September 29th,
Nah, that's a...
2000
What the
in
fuck
Beach
is
Grove,
that?
Indiana. That night, a white
The
pickup
car that was
truck
moving. I don't know.
reported
It wasn't a
stolen
Mercedes.
at
Maybe a
nearby
Buick.
gas station.
That wasn't no Impala.
Shortly after, at the scene of an
It was not the
unrelated
front end of an
traffic
Impala.
accident,
What was that?
Officer Matthew Hickey saw the
Shit
truck
like that
drive
bothers
by
me,
with
y'all. I'm
3
sorry.
men inside.
I'm weird.
He ran the plates, confirmed it was the stolen vehicle, and called it in. The chase began. 2 more officers joined, Robert Mercury and William Bill Toney, but the truck didn't get far. After a short pursuit, it crashed off the road into the yard of a quiet neighborhood home.
Non-driving
The doors
motherfucker.
flew open, and 2 of the men ran.
Bailed.
Officer Hickey quickly caught one of them,
Uh-huh.
Michael Greer. But the second man, Benjamin Ritchie, 20 years old, ran hard.
Yeah, that boy was gone.
Officer Bill Toney
Yeah,
chased
rabbit
him
in
through
him.
backyards,
Lost
jumping
him.
fences, dodging sheds and
Lost
swing
him.
sets.
Lost him.
Suddenly, Benjamin pulled something out.
Oh,
A
shit.
9mm Glock pistol.
Wow!
And fired 5 times.
Uh-huh.
Bill was wearing a bulletproof vest.
Oh, shit,
But
Bill.
one of the bullets struck just above it, hitting his chest. He
We
managed to
salute you,
fire
Bill.
once before collapsing.
We salute
He
you,
fell
Bill.
onto the grass, his service weapon dropping from his hand. Officer William Bill Toney died there, in that backyard, one day before his 32nd birthday.
That's crazy. A day
He left
before your
behind a
birthday.
wife and 2 young daughters. He's only been a police officer for 2 years.
Mimi, you still here? What you
For
think about that
reasons
death
no
penalty?
one fully understood, Benjamin Ritchie was wearing a wig that night. Maybe it was part of a plan, or maybe just paranoia. Either way,
Hey, I appreciate
after
them
the
jewels,
shooting,
yo.
he threw the
Blessings
wig
to
and
you.
the gun into
676.
some bushes
What you know
and
about
vanished into
67?
darkness.
6767,
Somehow, he
damn
slipped past
it.
the perimeter and
The
made it
fuck?
to
I
a
know
friend's
that's
house.
right.
Still free, at least for a
Appreciating
while.
them jewels, y'all.
Over 100 officers, SWAT teams, deputies, and investigators.
Yo, John
launched
Blaze,
an
what's good,
all-night
fam?
manhunt.
Welcome.
Roads were blocked.
Welcome, John
Neighborhoods
Blaze.
shut down.
Hit that like
Finding
button for me.
Benjamin Ritchie was urgent, and no one was going home until he was caught. Hours passed until there was a break. An anonymous call led them straight to a house. When officers arrived that morning, Benjamin was inside. This time, he didn't run. He didn't resist. He was arrested without a fight. The house belonged to Michael Moody, the third man from the stolen truck.
Lock his ass up, too.
He was arrested, too.
The fuck?
The manhunt was over, but the real battle was just beginning, in court. That's where Benjamin Ritchie's true story came to light. Born May 30th, 1980, Benjamin came into a world already stacked against him.
Happy poop.
He never met his
Happy
biological
poop.
father. His
Happy
mother,
poop.
Marion Martin,
Happy
abused alcohol and drugs, even during pregnancy. She worked as a stripper, constantly moving, never offering stability. By the time Benjamin was just 3 years old, his mother had already abandoned him twice.
Damn.
When he started school, the damage was obvious.
Look how happy he is to be in
He
prison.
misbehaved, couldn't learn, and by 9th grade, he dropped out entirely. At age 10,
Somebody
he was
need to
admitted
take
to
a baseball
psychiatric
bat
hospital,
straight to his
where he
fucking
was
teeth.
diagnosed with bipolar disorder
I could tell.
and other cognitive issues.
The whole
caused
left side
by
of his head is
chaotic
bipolar.
upbringing. He needed help, but the system had little to offer.
He needed more than
In
help.
August 1998, just after turning 18, he was arrested for robbery and sent to prison. By 2000, he was out. but
Shouldn't
not
have,
free.
see where they fucked
He
up?
was
They
still
let him
on
out.
probation, directionless.
Why the
and
fuck
his
you
life
let him out?
remained a mess. His troubled past hadn't ended. It was just waiting
Now we're
for
gonna have
another
to kill
chance
him
to
because
catch
you
up
let
with
him out. You failed. The
And on
system stay
September
failing,
29th,
motherfuckers.
2000, that's exactly what happened. After his arrest for the murder of Officer Bill Toney, the prosecution acted quickly. Within weeks, Marion County announced they would seek the death penalty. But this wouldn't be a quiet case. Benjamin had already given a jailhouse interview, claiming the shooting was an accident. He said the gun slipped and that he heard multiple shots while running.
Right.
One of his friends backed him up, saying Benjamin never meant to fire, that everything happened too fast. According to him, Benjamin panicked during the chase. He was already on probation, and another arrest could mean 8 more years in prison.
Oh, well.
That fear, he said, is what pushed Benjamin over the edge.
Oh.
But the damage was done.
Fear of
And whether
recompense
people
for his
believed
fuck
his
up.
version or not, a police officer was dead.
He was a pussy.
On August 10th, the jury gave its verdict. Guilty on all charges: murder, vehicle theft, unlicensed gun possession, and resisting arrest.
We'll holler.
At sentencing, Ritchie's lawyers tried to save him.
Nope.
They argued he had brain damage.
He gonna have
that his
more
mother
brain
used
damage when we
drugs
put
while
this
pregnant,
juice in his ass.
and that he grew up in chaos without a chance.
He gonna
They
have
painted
he
the
gonna come
picture
down
of
with a sudden
broken
case
boy
of
who
death.
became a broken man. But the jury didn't
He
see
gonna
it
be a
that
dead
way.
broken man. We put
Then
this
came
juice
the
in his
detail
ass.
that sealed his fate.
Tell him that.
Tattooed on Benjamin's neck was a number, 37. And it wasn't random.
That's
it
how
was
many-
Officer Toney's unit number.
Oh, wow.
A permanent trophy inked into his
Oh,
skin.
wow. Yeah, we
A
definitely.
reminder he planned to
We're
flaunt for the
gonna,
rest
we
of
gonna
his
give you an
life in
extra
prison.
drip of the juice,
But he
motherfucker.
wouldn't get that chance. On August 14th, the jury made its
Cold
decision.
piece of work.
After just 3 hours of deliberation, the verdict was unanimous. Benjamin would be sentenced to death. He was transferred to Indiana's death row.
Peace,
For
homie.
many, that would be the end.
Uh-huh.
But for Benjamin, not yet.
Not yet, brother.
Thousands of miles away, in Sweden, a woman named Ivana saw a documentary about death row inmates. Something about Benjamin stood out to her.
She want to be
She
a...
couldn't explain it, but
a
she
savior?
couldn't get him out of her head.
She's trying to save him.
She wrote to him. The letters turned into conversations.
She
And soon,
fell in love.
Ivana flew across the world to meet him.
She fell in love with him.
Separated by glass, they fell in love.
My God.
For nearly 4 years,
My Lord and
Ivana
God.
kept coming back. The Indiana Department of Corrections allowed it, even for a condemned man.
Glory to God's name.
And in case you're wondering, yes, Indiana's death row is different. As you can see, Benjamin had a real cat in his cell. That's not a metaphor. In Indiana, death row inmates are allowed to keep cats as pets. Why? It's part of a program to reduce isolation and improve behavior.
So you lock up a
Anyway,
cat,
for
you
years,
isolate a cat
Benjamin filed appeal after
to help
appeal,
somebody deal with
but no one
isolation?
would
What kind of
listen.
shit is that?
Until the date arrived.
Fucking cat ain't never did nothing to nobody.
2025, almost 23 years after entering
And
death
got a
row.
fucking life sentence.
In his final weeks, Benjamin asked for clemency. He told
That's
the parole
crazy.
board he was sorry, that he wasn't the same man who pulled the trigger in 2000, that he still had something good to offer, but there were no chances left. At 44
Thumbs
years
up,
old,
happy poop,
Benjamin
flowers.
Donnie
I
Ritchie
appreciate you,
was
Sola.
executed by lethal injection in
Yo,
Indiana.
Deaconess Lomax, what's good, yo?
For his last meal,
What up with
he
you? How you
chose
doing? How
Olive
you feeling?
Garden's tour of Italy, a plate with chicken parmesan, lasagna, and fettuccine alfredo. Shortly after midnight, the execution process began. His last words were simple. I love my family, my friends, and everyone who has supported me. I hope you all find peace. At 12:46 a.m., Benjamin was pronounced dead.
Peace, homie.
Matthew Johnson. State, Texas. Matthew Lee Johnson, originally from Dallas, had a childhood marked by a lack of supervision and early drug use, starting with marijuana at age 7 and later progressing to crack and PCP in high school. At 19, he married Daphne, but his addiction
Janine, I
quickly
can't talk
worsened,
to you because somebody
to the point
told me
where
to
a
be
friend
quiet.
once had to tie him to a bed due to his manic behavior. In
Somebody came in my room and told
he
me
was
to shut
sentenced
up.
to 5 years in prison for a drug-fueled robbery. There, he managed to stay sober, improved his attitude, and even took a parenting course. After his release in 2009, he remained clean for several years, had another child, got promoted at his job in a mechanic shop, and found some stability. However, in 2011, after buying their first house and facing
Motherfuckers come
financial
in your
stress
house and
when
tell
his
you
wife
how to
lost her
behave.
job, Johnson relapsed.
Crazy.
It wasn't until 2012 that Matthew Lee Johnson committed one of the most horrific crimes ever seen in Garland, a suburb of Dallas.
I bet she didn't even
On
hit
the
this
morning of
fucking
May
like button.
20th that year, he entered the Fina Whip-In convenience store where 76-year-old Nancy Judith Harris worked, a beloved grandmother in her community. Johnson brought with him a bottle of lighter fluid and a lighter. He approached Harris while she was...
Hey, Yolanda. Hobson. Make sure you hit that damn like button. LOL.
behind the counter and poured the flammable liquid over her head. He then forced her to open the cash register. As she tried to comply, he stole 2 lighters from the display, 2 packs of cigarettes, and even a ring from her finger.
Hey guys, be quiet. Yolanda's
Once
trying to hear the
Harris
documentary.
finally opened the register, Johnson took the money and set her on fire. According to court documents, Harris, engulfed in flames, desperately ran to a nearby sink trying to put out the fire. Meanwhile, Johnson casually walked out of the store and even paused to grab some candy before fleeing. He ran through the neighborhood, stripping off his clothes. When police caught him, he mockingly said, "What took you so long? You're getting slow." Nancy Harris was rushed to the hospital with 2nd to 4th degree burns on 40% of her body, including her face, chest, arms, legs, and hands. She died 5 days later, on May 25, 2012, after her family authorized the removal of life support. She left behind 4 sons, John, Brian, Scott, and Chris. An hour after the attack, Johnson was arrested and confessed to setting Harris on fire. At trial, he claimed he was under the influence of drugs and alcohol and hadn't intended to kill her, only to scare her. The prosecution, however, highlighted his criminal history, while the defense presented witnesses who spoke of his role as a father and his ongoing battle with addiction. In 2013, Johnson was sentenced to death. Since then, he filed multiple appeals, all of which were denied, including one by the U.S. Supreme Court in 2024. His most recent appeal, where he accused the Texas Attorney General of influencing the timing of executions, was rejected by the 5th Circuit Court just 2 days before the scheduled date. Matthew Lee Johnson never claimed to be innocent. According to his attorney, he was deeply remorseful for what he did.
Remorseful.
Since being on death row, Johnson tried to rehabilitate. He completed a faith-based program and, from prison, worked to be a positive influence on his wife and daughters, hoping they wouldn't follow the same path he did.
Okay.
Johnson was executed on Tuesday,
He redeemed
May 20th,
himself.
2025, by lethal injection, exactly 13 years after the crime. It took place at the Huntsville unit north of Houston. His execution was the 4th in Texas this year and the 18th in the United States. Elizabeth,
Deeply remorseful,
Harris's
right.
daughter-in-law, witnessed the execution along with her husband Chris, Harris's sons Scott and John, and granddaughter Shelby. Afterward, she stated firmly, "We had reached the point where we were just tired and wanted it to be over. The truth is, there's no such thing as healing. Days get easier, but you never fully heal." Since 2011, inmates in Texas are no longer allowed to choose their last meal, following public outrage over an excessive meal ordered by inmate Lawrence Brewer, who didn't eat any of it. According to reports, Matthew Johnson had requested ice cream as his last wish.
Ice cream.
But that request was denied.
Nope.
When asked for
Denied.
his final words, he said, "As I look at each one of you..."
He said, I want some ice cream. It's his fucking final words. What you mean?
Speaking slowly and clearly, "I please ask for your forgiveness. I never meant to hurt her." Oscar Smith, State, Tennessee. Oscar Franklin Smith met Judy Smith at a Waffle House in Nashville, where she worked as a waitress. Both had children from previous relationships, but they decided to marry in 1985, and soon after had twins. However, the relationship became violent over time. According to court records, Oscar had a history of threats and abuse. He pointed a gun at one of his stepsons, physically and sexually
Tennessee is
assaulted
wild.
Judy, and threatened to kill her.
So my
multiple
grandma's
times.
buried.
The couple separated and began the divorce process, along with a fierce custody battle over the twins. At the same time, Oscar took out life insurance policies on Judy and the children.
Oh, shit.
On October 1st, 1989,
You know what that
shortly
mean.
before midnight, a 911 call came from Judy's house. Screams and an address could be heard before the line went silent. Police arrived minutes later but found nothing unusual. It wasn't until the following afternoon that a 13-year-old neighbor discovered a horrifying scene. Judy, 35, and her sons, Chad, 16, and Jason, 13, were dead. All had been stabbed and had their throats slashed. In addition,
Savage.
Judy and Chad had been shot. The
Damn,
investigation
in addition.
quickly pointed to Oscar Smith. A bloody handprint found next to Judy's body matched his left hand, even though he was missing 2 fingers.
Oh, okay.
Investigators
Pretty
also
stupid to be
enhanced
doing
the
some shit like
911
you
call,
missing 2
where a
fingers.
voice believed
How many
to be
niggas in
Chad's
town
could be
missing
heard
2 fingers?
screaming,
Oh,
"Frank,
just one.
No, oh my God, help me." During the trial, Oscar claimed he
Missing
hadn't
2
committed the
fingers. You
murders.
can't make this shit up.
He said that on the day of the crime, he had breakfast with Judy.
It
and
wasn't
the
me.
kids.
Yeah, okay.
Then she went to buy a car. Later, he said, he went out with the twins and dropped them off at his mother's before heading to Kentucky for work. But the jury didn't believe him. Prosecutors argued that he had returned that night after dropping off the twins to commit the murders. The testimonies about his past violence, the insurance policies, and the handprint were damning. In 1990, Oscar Franklin Smith was found guilty of triple homicide and sentenced to death. At the
Well-
sentencing hearing, his lawyers
Well,
tried to
holla.
avoid the death penalty,
Nope.
arguing that Oscar had paranoid personality disorder.
Who gives a
and
fuck?
family history
He
of
won't have that shit
schizophrenia.
once we give him this
Still,
juice.
He was deemed mentally competent to stand trial.
Yeah, we gonna fix that.
It
Don't
was
worry
even
about it.
revealed that he refused to plead insanity because he feared it would prevent him from getting a mortgage in the future.
Oh, you ain't getting to worry about
For
no
more than
mortgage?
3 decades,
Shit.
Oscar and his attorneys maintained his innocence.
You gonna mortgage the
In
plot?
2019, they filed a motion citing trial irregularities, biased jurors, misinterpretation of life sentences, and a prosecution theory that, according to them, didn't align with the physical evidence.
It don't
One
matter.
of the most controversial pieces of evidence was a bloody ice pick with fingerprints that didn't match Oscar's or the victim's. Despite these arguments, the courts denied the request.
Probably one of them dumbass cops that picked it up
In
at the crime scene.
2022, his execution was ended at the last minute by Governor Bill Lee due to issues with the lethal injection protocol.
We're gonna save
But
you.
that stay was not permanent.
Psych!
Eventually, the governor announced he would not grant a new clemency hearing.
Nope, denied.
Oscar Franklin Smith's execution was rescheduled for May 22nd, 2025 at Riverbend Maximum Security Institution in
136-424, let's go.
Human rights groups and his legal team tried to stop the execution, citing an ongoing lawsuit against the lethal injection protocol.
Nope.
Which, according to experts, can cause sensations of suffocation or drowning.
That's fine.
Despite
That's
their
fine. We ain't gonna
efforts,
drown
the
him though, but he's just gonna
execution
feel like
moved
it. That's cool.
forward.
We
For
go
his
with that.
last
6767.
meal, which is typically limited to $20 by the state, Oscar requested hot dogs, tater tots, and apple pie with vanilla ice cream. Smith, 75, died from an intravenous injection of pentobarbital
The
at the
juice.
Riverbend Maximum Security Institution.
The juice.
He was pronounced dead at 10:47 a.m. on May 22nd.
136-424.
Words, he said, "Someone needs to tell the governor that the justice system doesn't work. I didn't kill her." Anthony Wainwright,
Justice system work. They just worked on
State,
your ass.
Florida.
The
On
juice.
April 27th, 1994, 23-year-old Carmen Gayhart, a nursing student and mother of two, was reported missing after she failed to pick up her children from daycare.
Mimi, what you thinking about this
Gayhart
death
was
penalty?
attending classes at Lake City Community College in Lake City, Florida.
Lake City,
And was
Florida.
last seen that day in a nearby parking lot. When she didn't arrive to collect her children, concern grew quickly. After her husband, father, and classmates were unable to find her, she was officially reported missing.
Uh-oh.
Unbeknownst to her family or investigators at the time, Carmen Gayhart had been abducted at gunpoint by Anthony Wainwright and Richard Hamilton while loading groceries into the Ford Bronco she was driving.
Bronco.
In the parking lot of a Winn
Damn,
Dixie
Bronco's
supermarket.
synonymous with death for some reason.
Just 2 days earlier,
Don't get no
Wainwright and
Bronco.
Hamilton had escaped from a minimum security prison in Carteret County, North Carolina.
Minimum security.
Wainwright was serving a 10-year sentence for robbery, while Hamilton was serving
What we
25
watching?
years for armed robbery. During their escape, they stole a car and broke into a home, stealing.
Good evening. Welcome. Welcome to Truth Hurts, BishopLo. Tonight we're watching the most brutal death row executions of 2025. Last meals and final words of death row inmates. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Do me a favor, hit that like button, man. Let YouTube know that we vibing. Next video, we're going to go into some more executions. Someone complained last night about my video being 3 hours long. Just to make a point. Well, if I have to make a 33-hour video to make a fucking point, as long as the fucking point gets made, it's my end goal. So don't nobody come in here timing my motherfucking videos. Don't nobody come in here telling me how to run my broadcast. Don't nobody come in this motherfucking room telling me to be quiet so that you can see the content. Nigga, I'm the content. Okay? You see me? But that's what we watching tonight, y'all. Hey, if you're here, I appreciate you for being here. And let me just say this right quick. If you came to this channel, Truth Hurts, because of any content I put up about Marcus from Atlanta Street Interviews, then you could go ahead and leave this channel. If I attracted you because of that, I don't need you here. Because this ain't that. Just wanted to put that out there, disclaimer. All right. Now back to this content. Blessings. Hit that like button.
Two
Hit that
rivals
subscribe
before
button.
fleeing to Florida,
Hit that notification
where
bell
they
so you
would
be notified when we drop new
ultimately
content.
kidnap
Cash App, $BishloLo.
On April 27th, 1994, Wainwright and Hamilton approached Gayheart at the grocery store parking lot, where her vehicle had stalled. They forced her into the car and drove her to a remote area in Hamilton County, Florida. There, they raped her in the backseat of the Bronco.
Great.
Attempted to strangle her, and ultimately executed her with 2 gunshots to the head. Her body was dumped near
Me
Wooded
being a
Roadside.
retired police detective, I have seen a lot.
multi-state
Yes.
manhunt was launched after Gayhart's disappearance.
Cameron, what's good, nephew? I'm good.
The next day, following a shootout
How
with
you,
law
Cam?
enforcement. Forensic evidence, including DNA found in the Bronco, conclusively linked Wainwright to the crime. Although he initially cooperated with authorities under a plea agreement, Wainwright later recanted his confession.
I'm a conspiracy theorist too, I'm gonna tell you.
Acted alone in the murder. In 1995, a jury found
Mimi, you said it's sad to see all
guilty of
this.
first-degree
What you
murder,
think about that death
armed
penalty?
kidnapping,
What you
armed
think,
robbery,
Mimi?
and sexual battery. The prosecution
Hey, I love you right back. Hey,
emphasized
Victor,
the
what the hell you doing up
prolonged
this late?
nature of the crime.
Shout out Victor, y'all.
Carmen Gayheart was forced to contemplate her fate for more than an hour before
Good
being
to see you, my
killed.
brother. One love.
Both Wainwright and Richard Hamilton were sentenced to death.
Death.
However, Hamilton
Get the
died
juice.
of natural causes in 2023 at the age of 59. Wainwright's defense team.
Yeah, I appreciate
operating
that
with
like,
limited
man. I
resources,
appreciate you, Vic. Have a
failed
good
to
night, my
present
brother.
mitigating evidence regarding his traumatic upbringing, which allegedly included sexual abuse and
They're white. They
cognitive
must be
impairments
guilty.
possibly linked
Oh,
to
nah.
prenatal exposure
I
to
mean,
Agent
damn.
Orange. His father,
Nah, we had
a
some
Vietnam
blacks
War
up here
veteran,
that was
had been
guilty too.
exposed to the toxic herbicide.
I think it's just, it
Later,
don't matter. Color
appeals
don't mean nothing
criticized
with
the
this
lack of
shit.
consideration given to these factors during the original trial. For over 30 years, Wainwright's legal team filed multiple appeals.
30 years,
citing
y'all.
prosecutorial
Appeal
misconduct,
after appeal.
unreliable jailhouse informant testimony, and withheld DNA
They said the
evidence.
snitches was
A
unreliable.
2025 petition to the U.S. Supreme Court argued that informants had received undisclosed sentencing benefits in exchange for their testimony.
Of course.
However, courts consistently rejected these claims.
Yeah, we don't give a
And
fuck
the
about
Florida
that.
Supreme Court
Your boy is
ruled
up out
that
of
the
here.
Agent Orange evidence would not have altered the sentencing outcome.
Right.
On June 10th, Wainwright woke up around 3:30 a.m. to face his final day.
Let's get it.
He was offered a last meal, which he politely declined,
Now-
according to Florida Department of Corrections spokesperson Ted Veerman.
Okay.
He spent his final hours with his fiancée and a spiritual advisor,
Oh, wow.
Maria David, Gayhart's sister, who planned to attend the execution.
Oh, I know you're
expressed
just
her
joking around, Vic.
frustration
I
with
know.
the lengthy legal process. 3 decades is too long to wait for justice, she told the Associated Press. It's ridiculous how many appeals they get. Each one reopens our wounds. You have to
Y'all
relive
thought
it
y'all
all
was
over
doing
again
something, bringing
because
back
they
them
tell
short
the whole
shorts.
story again.
Y'all ain't doing shit.
The execution began at approximately 6:10 p.m. Wainwright's shoulders twitched a couple of times. He blinked and took several deep breaths before becoming completely still at 6:14 p.m.
Dead.
He was executed by lethal injection,
The juice!
becoming the 6th inmate put to death in
Juice be
Florida
claiming
in
them, boy.
2025. Wainwright was officially pronounced dead at 6:22 p.m., according to Brian Griffin, spokesperson for Governor Ron DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
He gave a final statement, though his words were inaudible from the witness chamber.
That damn juice was tearing his ass up.
If Wainwright's
He couldn't
official
get that
last
shit
words
out.
are made public, we'll leave them here in the comments. Carmen Gayhart's
What'd you
sister
say, Mr.
Maria
Wainwright?
witnessed the execution
Huh?
and said, "Nothing was going to stop me from seeing this through."
Look at them short shorts. Y'all thought y'all was doing something, bringing them short shorts back? Shit.
State, Alabama. Gregory Hunt committed a horrific crime on August 2nd, 1988, when he was 28 years old, brutally murdering 32-year-old Karen Lane in Cordova, Alabama.
Brutally murdering.
Lane was killed in the apartment she shared with a woman who was Hunt's cousin, following what prosecutors described as a violent break-in and sexual assault.
Sex
The
A.
relationship between
Sex
Hunt and Lane
A.
had lasted approximately 1 month before the fatal attack. The medical evidence presented during Hunt's trial painted a devastating picture of Lane's final moments.
Oh, he looked like a retired
The
doctor.
physician who performed the autopsy
retired
testified that Lane died from blunt force trauma after sustaining approximately 60 injuries throughout her body,
60.
including 20 wounds to her head. The attack involved multiple weapons, with court records indicating that Hunt used his hands, fists, a broomstick, and a bar stool during the assault.
No crowbar like
Physical
y'all showing in the
evidence
picture,
linking
though.
Hunt to the crime
That's
scene
weird.
included fingerprints.
That's
and
fucking
witness
weird.
testimony,
He ain't say nothing about
which
that crowbar they
prosecutors
showing
used
in
to
the
build
picture.
their case against him. The sexual assault component of the crime became particularly significant.
She was a
during the
teacher, I
legal
bet you.
proceedings, as it elevated the charges to capital murder under Alabama law.
Bet you she was a teacher.
However, this aspect
She got
would
them
later
teacher
become a
glasses
source
on.
of controversy in Hunt's appeals, as he consistently denied sexually assaulting Lane while acknowledging that he killed her.
If they was guilty or not, they got the fuck up out of here. I don't know.
Karen didn't deserve what happened to her, describing how he had been consuming alcohol and drugs on the night of the incident and became jealous after seeing Lane with another man. Hunt's legal journey began with his arrest shortly after Lane's murder.
Only 2 of them so
Though
far
the
said they was
exact
innocent
timing of his capture is
before
not
they died.
detailed in available records. The case proceeded to trial in 1990, where Hunt was represented by court-appointed attorneys who had limited time and resources.
Court-appointed attorneys who had limited time and resources.
According
All
to
right.
court filings,
Let's
his
set him up
initial
for the
lawyer was
juice.
appointed just 3 months before the trial date, with another attorney accepting appointment only weeks before the proceedings began.
Why they keep showing the same attorney
On
for
June
everybody
19,
in different states? What the
1990,
fuck is wrong with these
a
people?
Walker County jury found Hunt
Well, at least they
guilty
edited
on
they
3
shit.
counts of capital murder.
Guilty.
The first count related to killing Lane during the course of a robbery.
Alcohol is truly
while
a
the
root
other
of
2
evil.
counts
Seth
involved
said.
allegations
Yo,
that
Seth,
he murdered her
where
during
you
a sexual
been?
assault. During the penalty
Oh
phase,
shit, yo,
jurors
Seth, welcome
voted
home,
11
man.
to 1 to recommend a death sentence, which the judge subsequently imposed.
Let's juice him.
Alabama and Florida are notably
Let's
the
get some
only
juice
2
in this
states
guy.
that allow non-unanimous jury recommendations for death sentences during the penalty phase of trials. The defense team's limited investigation meant that
Look like a
jurors
retired
never
piano
heard about
teacher and
Hunt's
shit.
traumatic
Piano
childhood,
tuner. Guy that comes
including
by
his
and
upbringing
tunes your
in a
fucking
violent,
piano.
alcoholic
That's what he looks
family
like.
that was physically
Not a
and
fucking
sexually
murderer.
abusive.
And sexually abusive.
Hunt had periodically lived in group homes and began using
Oh
drugs
shit.
during childhood.
I lived in group home
Factors
as a
that could have
child.
served
I didn't
as
turn into no
mitigating
fucking
circumstances during
shit.
sentencing. This
I lived in
lack
group
of
homes as a
mitigation
child. I didn't
evidence
turn
would
into no
later become a
killer, no
significant
rapist
issue
now.
in
Come on.
Hunt's post-conviction
I don't like
appeals.
that.
Hunt's time on death row, spanning over 3 decades, represents one of the
Look at
longest
Seth slid
tenures
on
in
in me. I
Alabama's
like
death
that.
row history.
Appreciate you, boy.
Since 1988, Hunt has led Bible study sessions attended by approximately 24 inmates, earning him recognition as a spiritual leader within the death row community.
Spiritual leader within
The
the
Reverend
death.
Jeff
He kind of
Ford,
looked like, I
the
told you, a
Catholic
Roman
priest who
Catholic
serves as
priest that
Hunt's spiritual
mess
advisor,
with little boys.
described him as someone whose story represents spiritual triumph,
Oh, okay.
and noted his courage in ministering to others.
I
on
know
death
that's right.
row.
We still gonna get your ministering ass
Hunt's
the fuck up
favorite
out of here, though,
activities
brother.
include writing
The fuck?
gospel songs and
Yep.
singing them.
You can sing them all in, up in that
Describes
heaven
his
place
singing
if you
voice
get,
as
you know what I'm saying?
sounding like a
But you
weed
getting the fuck up out of here.
Gregory woke up early this morning at 5 a.m. when he received visits from his closest family
He looked like
members.
Monkey Wrench Mike.
According to reports, his
Hey,
last
y'all
meal
look
was
up
a
Monkey
pizza,
Wrench Mike on
which he
YouTube.
shared with his family and a corrections
He
officer.
shared his pizza with his people.
At exactly 6 p.m.,
Juice him!
Gregory was executed by nitrogen hypoxia. He spent his final moments strapped to a gurney, with a blue mask covering his entire face.
Let's gas this.
Although Hunt
Give him
did
the
not speak
gas.
any final
He had the
words
gas
just
face when he
before
left
the
here,
gas
y'all.
was released, he appeared to make a thumbs up and peace sign with
Thumbs
his
up,
fingers.
peace.
Shortly
I'm outta
after,
here.
He briefly struggled, gasped, and lifted his head off the gurney.
I'm going to see my
He took a
Jesus.
series of 4 or more shallow breaths, with long pauses between
They
them,
wasn't worth shit,
and
them
showed no
breaths.
visible movement after 6:05 p.m.
All right, 6:05. Let's
Authorities
call it.
pronounced Hunt dead at 6:06 p.m.
Let's call it
at a prison
6:06.
in southern Alabama. The closest thing to last words came in an interview with the Associated Press just 1 week before his execution.
What did he say? What did he say?
There, he reflected on his religious faith and
His
described
religious
prison
faith.
as a hospital to heal my broken mind. I'm just trying to be a light in a dark place.
I
Trying
think
to
a whole
tell
lot of
people that if I
motherfuckers should
can
be on the
change,
gurney after
they
these
can also
Epstein files
become
come
people
out.
of love instead of hate.
And they all gonna be celebrities,
A
you know?
statement from Karen Lane's
That's
family
what I think.
expressed deep gratitude to
We
the
need to
Walker
juice all
County
them
District
motherfuckers, them
Attorney's
sick
Office,
bastards.
the Alabama Attorney General's Office, and Victims of Crime and Leniency.
We need to juice the
nonprofit
elite.
dedicated to supporting and advocating for victims of violent crimes. The family emphasized that this night was not about Gregory Hunt, nor about closure, but about remembering Karen Lane and the pain she endured.
Karen Lane, I bet she was a teacher.
Karen
Man.
was shown no mercy. She was not given a second chance.
Oh, a banker.
The statement
She worked
read,
at the bank.
Karen was shown no grace. The message ended with a quote engraved on her headstone by her mother, Betty Sanders. Crime will not decrease until being a criminal becomes more dangerous than being a victim. Stephen Stanko,
That's deep.
State, South Carolina.
South Carolina, here we go.
Born
Stand
on
up.
January 13th, 1968, at the naval base in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, Stephen Stanko already had a criminal
Stephen
record long before
Stanko.
being sentenced for the
Finna
crimes
fuck
that
around
were
and
sent
find
into
out
his
about
world.
South Carolina.
In 1996, he was convicted of assault and kidnapping, serving 8.5 years of a 10-year sentence.
Clearly not enough.
During that time, he co-wrote a book with another inmate titled Living in Prison.
Oh, he was a
A
book
story
writer
of the penal
and
system
author.
from within. Those who knew him then described him as an intelligent, educated man who was always willing to talk about his life behind bars and the book he had written. In 2004, he was released and moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where he rented a room. His parole officer verified that the landlord was informed about his past.
Oh, yeah, they all in that
which
file.
Stanko himself had disclosed when
They
he
all in
applied
them
to Wright.
files.
He lived there for nearly a year without major issues, except for some delays in paying rent. He often complained about the difficulties of finding a job due to his criminal record.
Damn, he sound like me.
Eventually, he moved to a friend's house in exchange for caring for the
But
friend's
I ain't gonna
elderly
become no
mother.
damn whatever he did.
Stanko began frequenting the local library,
Stanko.
claiming he was researching a second book.
Old Stanko over
During
here.
that time, he developed a romantic relationship with the librarian,
Oh, okay.
Laura Ling, and ended up moving in with her and her daughter.
Oh, shit.
He also formed an apparent friendship with another regular
What happened
library
with the
user,
goddamn woman and her
Henry Turner.
daughter?
In the early hours in the coastal town of Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, authorities reported that Stephen Stanko took the life of his partner, Laura Ling, and severely harmed her 15-year-old daughter,
Lord have
Christina
mercy.
Ling, who also lived in the house. Against all odds, the teenager survived and later testified against him.
And the mother didn't.
That same day, Stanko drove north to the city of Conway, where he took the life of Henry Lee Turner, a 74-year-old retired U.S. Air Force veteran. Reports indicate that Stanko
clearly
gained
had no
entry
gun.
by lying about a family emergency. He then took Turner's vehicle, emptied his bank account, and fled the state.
Oh, okay.
In the
Thief,
following
too.
days, Stanko hid in Augusta, Georgia,
Meth.
where he claimed to be a successful businessman
Meth.
and owner of several restaurants.
Meth.
However, his luck ran out on April 12th, when a woman who had given him a ride to church recognized him from a photo on the news and alerted authorities.
Going to the
He
Lord's
was
house.
arrested without resistance by the United States
Going to the
Marshals
Lord's
after
house in a suit.
nationwide manhunt.
In a suit of clothes.
Stanko was tried separately for both cases.
Stanko.
The first in 2006 and the second
Oh,
in
Stanko
2009.
over here.
His defense argued he had a congenital brain condition worsened by a teenage injury.
It's gonna be even
which
worse
caused
and
a
more, even
personality
more about his
disorder.
juice we gonna give his
But the
ass.
prosecution disagreed.
We gonna worsen him
During
fuck
closing
up out of
arguments,
here.
Prosecutor Greg Hembry described him as someone who, in his words, is simply evil. There's something inside him that drives him to do harm.
Well,
He knows it.
we
and
gonna
he
put
wants
something
it.
inside him that's gonna drive him to
He
the
was sentenced to
graveyard.
death in
Damn
both
it.
trials.
Fuck.
His final appeal was rejected by the United States Supreme Court in May
Denied.
2025, clearing the way for his execution.
Let's get you up. Let's get
According
you
to
set
South
up.
Carolina law,
Oh,
inmates can choose between the electric chair, firing squad,
Nah, he
or
gonna
lethal
take.
injection.
He gonna take the juice.
Initially, Stanko considered the firing squad,
Nah, he gonna take
a
the juice.
recently reinstated option in the state.
He gonna take the juice.
However, medical reports from previous executions led him to change his mind. One report noted that an inmate executed by firing squad did not lose consciousness immediately.
Oh, shit.
And that the shots missed vital organs,
shit.
prolonging the process.
I told you I'm going to hit you about
possibility of suffering,
7 times.
Stanko chose lethal
Be
injection.
like, oh, I told you, let's get the juice.
Tried to halt the execution.
We want
with a
that
last-minute
juice.
appeal,
That juice get you
arguing
loose,
that
baby.
caused unnecessary suffering.
Juice.
However, a federal judge ruled there was insufficient evidence to delay the procedure.
The juice.
There was no intervention from the state governor either.
Let's go, bro. You up?
Since South Carolina reinstated the death penalty about 50 years ago, no governor has granted clemency in an execution.
Ain't happening.
Stephen Stanko's execution took place on Friday, June 13th, 2025,
Stevie!
at 6 p.m.
Hey, Stevie, let's
He
go,
was led
buddy.
to the execution chamber and strapped to a gurney.
What you mean?
An intravenous line was placed before
Got the
witnesses
juice for
entered
your
the
ass,
room.
nigga. It's your juice
He
day.
received a dose of the sedative pentobarbital.
A dose.
According to records of previous
juice.
executions in the state, loss of consciousness usually occurs in under 2 minutes, and the procedure is considered quick and silent. For his last meal on death row, Stephen Stanko was given a $20 allowance to order anything he wanted.
$20,
He
bro.
requested ice cream.
Get
and a
cheese on that.
hamburger. Shortly before his execution by lethal injection,
You can get cheese
Stanko
on that,
delivered
Steve.
a final statement lasting 3.5 minutes.
Steve, go ahead and get some cheese on that.
He apologized to the families of
Sorry,
his
y'all.
victims and asked not to be
Fucking
judged
cat
solely
keep
by the
knocking the
worst
phone
day
down.
of his life. He had written the statement in advance and
My
read
bad.
it aloud in the execution chamber. According to official reports, the execution began moments after he finished his statement, in which he expressed deep remorse and urged people not to define him by a single tragic event.
Oh, okay.
Once he concluded, prison staff administered the first dose of the powerful sedative pentobarbital.
The juice.
Part of his final words were, "I am truly sorry for the pain and loss that I caused in this horrible situation," Stanko wrote. Sorry is never enough,
Nope.
but that does not mean it should not be said.
Well, thanks.
Outside the prison, anti-death penalty protesters gathered.
Lock them up.
A son of Henry Lee Turner,
Shit.
one of the victims, said,
Ask them if they want some of that
finally
goddamn
peace.
juice Stanko
Justice
just fucking
had
got.
been served, though
Justice.
it had taken far too long.
Was it justice, y'all?
Thomas Lee Gudinas,
Was it justice, y'all?
State, Florida.
What are your
On
thoughts?
May 21st, 1994, Orlando, Florida became the scene of a crime that shocked the city and would seal the fate of Thomas Lee Gudinas, then 20 years old. That night, Michelle McGrath, a 22-year-old woman, was out enjoying herself at Barbarella's, a downtown nightclub.
Barbarella's.
Around 2:45 a.m., McGrath was last
I can see
seen
the
leaving
bell
venue
bottles
and
flying in that
walking toward her
motherfucker right
vehicle.
now.
Hours later, at 7:30 a.m., a school employee discovered her body in an alley near a school.
Uh-oh.
The scene was brutal.
Brutal.
McGrath was found naked except for her bra,
My God.
showing clear signs of sexual assault
My
and
God.
extreme violence. The autopsy revealed she died from a brain hemorrhage caused by a severe blow to the head, likely a kick.
My God.
Additionally, objects were found inserted into her vaginal and rectal cavities.
What in the fuck?
Her blood alcohol level was 0.17%. The medical examiner determined that death occurred 30 to 60 minutes after the fatal injury, and that McGrath had fought for her life, as evidenced by defensive wounds on her hands. The investigation moved quickly. Witnesses identified Gudinas fleeing the scene and linked him to another attempted assault that same night. Rochelle Smith, another woman who had been at Barbarella's, testified that Gudinas chased her to her car and tried to force his way in while yelling sexual threats.
Oh, shit.
Smith managed to escape and later identified Gudinas in a photo lineup and again at trial. Other witnesses placed him near the crime scene and reported seeing him in possession of McGrath's keys, which he claimed were his. The forensic evidence was damning.
What did it say?
Gudinas' fingerprints were found on McGrath's vehicle, and semen matching his DNA was recovered from her body.
That's semen. That semen gets you every time.
Testified that he returned home that morning with blood-stained clothing.
Fellas, you got to keep that
saying,
semen to yourself.
"I killed her, then I fucked her."
Uh-oh.
Gudinas was arrested shortly after. The case was moved to Collier County to ensure a fair trial. In 1995, he was convicted of first-degree murder, 2 counts of sexual battery, attempted sexual battery, and attempted robbery with assault. The jury recommended the death penalty by a 10-2 vote, and the judge formally imposed it on June 16, 1995. During the trial, the defense presented evidence of Gudinas' troubled childhood, a life of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse at the hands of family members and caregivers. He was diagnosed with multiple psychiatric disorders and had been through 105 institutions.
Well, it's going to be his last right here. Because what we going to do, we're going to get his ass up out of here.
He had a low IQ and severe psychological impairments.
That's all right.
With an extremely limited ability to control his impulses.
That's cool. We're going to control this shit from here on.
Which he had consumed the night of the crime.
We're going to give him the juice, baby. The juice going to fix all that shit. Don't worry about it.
Did you have sex with her when she was dead? Yeah, just joking around. I apologize to the family for that. I was stupid. But,
You recall telling the police...
Don't see him start me. Let's juice him up.
Yeah, I killed her, then...
yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're gone.
Do you remember now that's what he said?
Yeah.
Over the years, Gudinas filed numerous appeals claiming ineffective counsel, procedural errors, and mental health issues. All were denied by state and federal courts, which ruled that the aggravating factors outweighed any mitigating
Court said, nope.
Gudinas' attorneys recently argued before the Florida Supreme Court that his execution was no longer constitutionally acceptable, citing the evolution of societal standards of decency. They maintained that, due to the severe mental illness he suffered at the time of the crime, the death penalty would serve no deterrent effect and would amount only to an act of vengeance.
6767.
His aunt, Judith Gudinas Theriot, remained convinced of his innocence.
Oh, well, lock her ass up then.
Back in 1994,
because she crazy as hell.
She shared that he had found God while in prison.
What that mean?
And kept a newspaper photo of Michelle McGrath.
He gonna find God even closer once we do what, fellas?
Meanwhile,
and ladies,
McGrath's
once we give him the juice, baby.
His final legal efforts is nothing more than procedural tactics.
He's gonna be real close to God then.
Chose not to attend the
in his
execution,
damn bosom,
viewing it as an additional layer of trauma.
Let's juice him up.
Still, they expressed relief at no longer having to receive annual calls and letters from the state about developments in Gudinas' case. For many, the execution did not bring closure, but it did bring an end.
To the life of the fucking slug.
2025, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed the execution warrant for Thomas Lee Gudinas.
Yo, Tommy.
Scheduling it for June 24th, 2025.
You got your paperwork, bro.
At Florida State Prison in Stark. Gudinas, aged 51, became the 7th person executed in Florida in 2025.
We got your juice date. Yeah.
On Tuesday, June 24th, Gudinas woke up at 4:45 a.m. He received a visit from his mother, but chose not to meet with a spiritual advisor.
Okay.
For his final meal, he requested pepperoni pizza, French fries, and a soft drink. Later that day, at exactly 6 p.m., the curtain to the execution
I hope they gave you some goddamn schoolhouse pizza.
Gudinas was already strapped to a gurney with an IV inserted into his left arm.
Juice him.
After completing a final call with the governor's office, the warden asked Gudinas if he had any last words. Though his response was inaudible to those in the witness room, prison officials stated that he expressed remorse and mentioned Jesus. Moments later, the lethal injection process began. His eyes rolled back, and his chest moved slightly as he experienced mild convulsions.
That's that juice effect.
Within minutes, his skin turned pale, and his body became completely still.
That's that juice.
At 6:23 p.m.,
that juice
the
will
warden
get you loose,
officially
boy.
declared the execution complete. The curtain was closed, and the witnesses were escorted out of the chamber. Gudinas became the 7th person executed in Florida this year.
Juiced.
And the 24th execution carried out in the United States in 2025.
Juiced.
Richard Gerald Jordan, State, Mississippi. In January 1976, 29-year-old
Hey, my
Richard
birthday
Gerald
is January
Jordan
6,
devised a cold-blooded
1976, y'all.
ransom scheme that would forever alter
This
the
bastard kill his bastard. This bastard kill his cop.
warden
And my
officially
birth
declared
month?
the execution
What
complete.
you mean?
The curtain was
You
closed.
gotta be kidding me, man.
United States in
My birthday is
2025.
1/6/76.
Richard Gerald Jordan, State, Mississippi. In January 1976,
That's crazy.
29-year-old Richard Gerald Jordan devised a
That's crazy.
cold-blooded ransom scheme that would forever alter
50
the
years
lives of
ago,
the
y'all.
Gulfport family and ultimately lead him to become Mississippi's longest-serving death row inmate.
50 years, y'all.
Jordan, a Vietnam War veteran who had served 3 combat tours totaling 33 months as a helicopter gunner, called Gulf National Bank in Gulfport and asked to speak with a loan officer. After learning that Charles Martyr was available to take his call,
That's crazy.
Jordan hung up, looked up the Martyr family's home address in a telephone directory,
50 years.
and drove to their residence. Posing as an electric company employee who needed to check the home's electrical
6/17. Oh,
breakers,
shit.
Jordan gained entry to the Martyr house. He kidnapped 34-year-old Edwina Martyr, a mother of 2 young children,
Yeah, kidnapper.
forcing her to leave her 3-year-old son sleeping
Kidnapper.
alone in the house while her 10-year-old son was at school.
Kidnapper.
Jordan drove Edwina to a wooded area in the DeSoto National Forest in Harrison County,
Kidnapper.
where he fatally shot her in the back of the head. The physical evidence showed that the bullet entered at the lower right occipital area of her brain
The lower
and
right
traveled
occipital
upward
area.
from right to left.
They cut it.
exiting
They
above
cut
her
into
left
my
eye.
lower left occipital
After
area. My
killing
brain
Edwina,
surgery.
Jordan threw the murder weapon into the Big Biloxi River, where it was later recovered by police scuba divers. He then called Charles Martyr at the bank, falsely claiming that Edwina was alive and well, and demanded $25,000 for her safe return. Jordan instructed Charles to place the money wrapped in brown paper on a blue jacket along U.S. Highway 49. But when Charles arrived, he found no jacket because Jordan had spotted that Charles' car was being followed by the FBI. The next morning, Jordan called Charles again, assuring him that Edwina was fine and asking about the children. This time, Charles found the jacket and left the money along Interstate 10 as instructed. When Jordan retrieved the ransom money, 2 officers attempted to arrest him, leading to a high-speed chase during which Jordan forced the officer's car off the road and escaped.
That's why they asked for Bitcoin for Nancy Guthrie ass, because of that shit. If you think you gonna catch me while I'm picking that goddamn money up out that trash can out there in the downtown square, you fucking crazy.
Calling a taxi, Jordan was captured at a roadblock where an officer
6767.
recognized him. Jordan confessed to the crime and cooperated fully with investigators, showing them where to find Edwina's body.
Back in the
and
day, we
location
grabbed
of
your
the
ass and
murder
shit as you
weapon.
grabbing that money out the
He was
post office
arrested,
box, the blue
tried,
one.
and sentenced to death in 1976.
Not now, they got Bitcoin.
However, Jordan's
Crypto.
case became extraordinarily complex, involving 4 separate trials and multiple appeals over nearly 5 decades. His original death sentence was vacated when automatic death sentences were ruled unconstitutional, leading to a second trial and death sentence in 1977. After successfully appealing this sentence, he received a 3rd death sentence, which was again overturned. Prosecutors then offered Jordan a plea deal for life imprisonment without parole in
Plea
exchange
deal,
for
plea
waiving his
deal.
appellate rights. But Jordan later violated this agreement by appealing on grounds that life without parole was not a permitted sentence under Mississippi law at the time of his crime. Courts found the plea agreement improper and granted a new sentencing hearing in 1998, where Jordan was sentenced to death for the 4th time. Throughout his decades-long legal battle, Jordan's defense team argued that his Vietnam War trauma was never properly presented to the jury. Jordan had been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder after serving in combat, including during the bloody 1968 Tet Offensive at his base in
PTSD, yo.
His legal team contended that had the jury been informed about his combat experiences and mental health struggles, he might not have received a death sentence.
Well, it don't matter. We gonna fix that PTSD. With what?
Richard Gerald Jordan's death
Y'all put in the
warrant for June
comments what we gonna
25th,
fix that shit with.
2025,
I ain't
stating
even
that
gonna say it.
justice must be served, and in Mississippi it will be. the U.S. Supreme Court denied Jordan's final appeals on June 23rd, clearing the way for his scheduled execution. Richard Gerald Jordan woke up today at 6 a.m.
Ricky J, let's go.
On Wednesday,
Joel ass,
he
hurry
was
up.
to visit with family members.
No, you're moving
attorneys,
slow,
and
but we got to
spiritual
get you
advisors.
what? The fuck
His
up out of here.
family was permitted to stay with him until
With what?
2 p.m.
That juice.
His final meal consisted of chicken tenders, French fries, strawberry ice cream, and
Yeah.
a root beer.
Soft
float.
shit, you know. Don't give him
Jordan
nothing too
was
crispy.
moved to an isolation cell
He got
at
too
4
many teeth
p.m.
left in his
and
goddamn head.
executed by lethal injection
The
at
juice!
16 p.m. on June 25th, 2025, at the Mississippi State Penitentiary in Parchman. During the procedure, he experienced mild convulsions for about 3 to 5 minutes and was pronounced dead by a physician at 6:23 p.m.
Works
He
for
was
us.
79 years old at the time of his death, and he
79.
spent nearly 49 years on death row, making him the longest-serving death row inmate in Mississippi's history. When given the opportunity to make a final statement, Jordan said, "First of all, I want to thank everyone for the humane way this was done. I want to apologize to the victim's family. I love you all very much. I will see you on the other side, all of you." His words were interpreted by some as sarcastic, especially amid ongoing criticism regarding the ingredients used in Mississippi's lethal injection
In that
protocol.
juice? He want to know what the
Jordan
cocktail is in
was
that
the
juice.
third person executed in Mississippi in the past decade, following the state's most recent execution in December 2022. His execution was carried out using Mississippi's 3-drug lethal injection protocol,
Gave you a
which he and
cocktail.
other inmates had previously challenged as cruel
Oh, it's
and
a mixture.
unusual punishment.
Don't worry about it.
Edwina Martyr's sons, the eldest, who was 11 years old when their mother was murdered,
Mm-hmm.
and the youngest, just 3 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
are now 59 and 49 years old.
Mm-hmm.
After nearly 5 decades, they finally saw justice served. However, Eric Martyr, the older brother, stated that neither he nor his sibling would attend the execution.
Mm-hmm.
John Hansen, State, Oklahoma. On August 31st, 1999,
Mm-hmm.
35-year-old George John Hansen and
Jorge.
his accomplice, Victor Miller, carjacked 77-year-old Mary Agnes Bowles from the parking lot of Promenade Mall in
Mary
Tulsa.
Agnes. Sister Mary
Bowles,
Agnes.
a retired banker and former president of the St. Francis Hospital Auxiliary,
Mm-hmm.
was at the mall for her regular evening walk.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier that same day,
Walking around the
Hansen
mall.
and Miller had already committed 2 armed liquor store robberies
Stay healthy.
and kidnapped Bowles to use her car in further crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Hansen held Bowles at gunpoint in the
Liquor
back seat,
stores.
while Miller drove to a remote dirt pit near Owasso.
Mm-hmm.
There, they encountered 44-year-old Gerald Max Thurman,
Gotta kill
a
him
trucking
too.
company owner who was making a delivery.
Gotta get rid of him too.
Thurman witnessed the kidnapping and called his nephew to report it.
Mm-hmm.
In an effort to
He ain't called the
silence
police, he
him,
called his
Miller
nephew.
shot Thurman 4 times with a .38 caliber revolver. Shortly afterward, Hansen took Bowles from the car and fatally shot her 4 to 6 times with a 9mm semi-automatic pistol.
Mm-hmm.
Her body was partially covered with branches before the pair fled.
Mm-hmm.
Thurman was transported to the hospital, but succumbed to his injuries 2 weeks later, on September 14th, 1999. Bowles' body was discovered on September 7th. 8 days after the murders, on September 8th, Hansen and Miller robbed a federal credit union and were arrested the following day at a local motel. Their fingerprints on Bowles' vehicle and the discovery of the murder weapons, wrapped in plastic and hidden inside a tank, linked them to both killings. Tried separately from Miller, Hansen was convicted in 2001 of first-degree malice murder for Bowles' death and first-degree felony murder for Thurman's.
What we gonna do with these motherfuckers?
He received the death penalty
Ah!
for killing Bowles and life without parole for
Go
Thurman's
get the juice,
murder.
baby.
Though his death sentence was initially overturned on appeal,
Why?
it was reinstated in 2006.
Glory to God's name.
Miller's sentence was later reduced to life without parole following multiple appeals.
What?
In federal court, Hansen had already been sentenced to life plus 107 years for a string of armed robberies.
Oh yeah, nah,
and
we
was
not
serving
paying
his
for all
time
that
at
shit.
United States Penitentiary Pollock in Louisiana.
Nah, we ain't paying for all that shit.
His execution was originally scheduled for December 15th, 2022,
We gonna give him the
but the
juice.
Biden administration denied Oklahoma's transfer request,
Biden.
citing lack of public interest.
Joe kept your ass
However,
alive.
under President Trump's executive
Trump
order
came and said,
pushing for stronger
get
enforcement
that
of capital
motherfucking
punishment,
juice.
Hansen
Fuck
was
are y'all
transferred
doing
to
still paying
Oklahoma
for this loser?
custody in March 2025.
Trump reversed all that shit.
On May 7th, 2025, the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board denied Hansen's clemency
Denied.
request.
It was
in a
Trump,
3-2
actually. Trump
vote.
said, nah, fuck that shit.
His attorneys argued that he had autism and related cognitive impairments,
We don't give a shit.
making him vulnerable
We don't
to
care. We
influence
gonna
by
go ahead
his
and
more
juice his ass
culpable
up this time.
co-defendant.
We gonna fuck
A
around and let
temporary
Joe
stay
fuck
of
us up.
execution was granted on June 9th, but overturned the next day by
Psych!
the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals.
Psych.
George John Hansen was executed by lethal injection at
Juice!
10:01 a.m.
Juice
on
to
June 12th, 2025,
June
at the
12th.
Oklahoma State Penitentiary.
5 days before my man's
He was
birthday.
pronounced
That's
dead
crazy.
at 10:11 a.m.
5 days
with
before
no
the
reported
deacon's birthday, they
complications.
juiced this motherfucker, yo.
While strapped to the gurney, Hansen's final words were, "Just forgive me and peace to everyone."
Nah, we good. We ain't doing none of that shit. We gonna get you what the fuck up out of here. Fuck you talking about?
2000.
Shit. We can get you
And
up out of here.
jealousy and a need for control set
Shit.
off a chain of events that led to a double shooting, a death sentence, a jail escape, and nearly 3 decades on death row. It all started in the summer of 1997 when 27-year-old Chuck started dating Denise, who was 38 years old
So
at the
Chuck
time.
and Denise, y'all.
Before long, he moved into the home she shared with her son, her co-worker Lisa, and Lisa's 2 daughters.
Ladies, stop moving
At
these
first,
motherfuckers
it
in
looked
your
like a
home.
fresh start, a blended household trying to make things work, but it didn't stay that way for long. Chuck's jealousy kept growing, and so did his temper. When he got angry, he threw things, kicked the refrigerator, and punched the walls so hard he left holes in them. And it didn't stop there. Chuck rarely worked, leaving Denise and Lisa to carry all the financial
That's
weight.
why he had so
And
much
when
time to
Lisa
put holes in the
finally
walls. He
asked
had no
him to help
job.
pay the bills, his anger only got worse. One night, Lisa heard him screaming at Denise, and when she peeked into the bedroom, she saw him grabbing and shaking her. Lisa tried to pull him away, but he turned
Now,
on
wait a
her
minute. I
instead
done shook a
and
few
threw her to
bitches
the
now. Hold
ground.
on. Wait a minute.
When she tried to call the police afterward, she discovered the phone
Shake
line
them
was
the fucking...
dead. The cord had been ripped right out of the wall. Not long after, Chuck moved out, while Denise got her own apartment and tried to start over. But the
John
pattern
said he
didn't
was
stop.
a
On March
disturbed
16,
sicko.
1998, the 3 of them went to a local pub. As the night went on, Chuck became possessive and controlling, demanding that Denise sit with him and not dance with anyone else.
Blame it on the
And when Lisa saw
alcohol.
Denise days later, her face was bruised, her lips split, and there were marks around her neck.
Oh, he beat that ass.
By then, though, Denise had already started spending time with Darren,
Oh,
a bartender she had
shit.
met at a local bar.
Oh,
He
shit.
was friendly, patient, and well-liked. Everything locals say Chuck wasn't.
Somebody fitting to get
They were
O.J.
just
Simpson.
friends
I
at
tell you that
time,
shit.
but
Ron
Darren
Goldman.
could tell something was wrong in Denise's life. On the night of April 29th, 1998, he called his best friend Tony to see if he wanted to watch a game. But Tony declined, and the night moved on. But a few hours later, around 2:30 in the morning, Darren called again, this time sounding urgent. He said Denise was being threatened and hurt, and that he was heading to her apartment to help her. But what he didn't know was that he was walking straight into a deadly situation. Early that morning, Chuck showed up at Denise. She saw Denise near the apartment. At first glance, neither of them looked physically hurt, but Denise was clearly shaken, talking fast and apologizing.
Denise
to
got
Darren
her ass
for all
whooped.
of
That's
this.
what happened.
Then Chuck came storming out of the apartment. He was yelling and cursing, calling Denise a
whore!
Tried to calm him down, telling him to chill.
You whore!
Instead of backing off, Chuck looked at Darren and yelled, "Do you want to die, motherfucker?"
Do you want to die, motherfucker?
Deputy William Coker
wow.
arrived in response to the disturbance
Do you want
call,
to die,
and he
motherfucker? My
immediately
God.
noticed Chuck's face. It was swollen and bruised, a visible sign there had been a fight. And as he started asking questions, it quickly became clear that Chuck was the one who had started it, not the victim. Still, nobody wanted to press charges, and without a formal complaint, there wasn't much he could do. So William did the only thing he could. He ordered Chuck to leave the complex, then followed him as he drove away, and warned him that if he came back, it wouldn't be just a fight anymore.
Yakety yak,
It would be
don't come
criminal
back.
trespass. And with that, he left, thinking the situation
He told him to
had been
take out the
resolved.
papers in the
But
trash.
he was wrong. Very wrong.
Or he was going to beat his...
Because just a couple of hours
Honky
later,
ass.
around 6 a.m., Chuck came back. And this time, he wasn't there to talk. He was armed with a 9mm
He was about that
handgun,
business. Yeah,
and he was ready to use it.
That's right.
Chuck walked up to the front door of Denise's apartment and kicked it in. The door blew open, waking Darren and Denise. But before either of them could fully react, Chuck was already in the bedroom, standing over them with the gun raised.
You got to be quick.
He fired 4 shots into Darren's neck and chest.
In his neck and chest. Oh,
The
shit.
bullets tore through his vital
Oh, he
organs,
gonna get the
and
juice.
Darren collapsed instantly.
What he
and
gonna get,
died
y'all?
within seconds.
The juice. We got the juice, this sick
Gentleman was there in
bastard.
bed with her. So we got into a verbal altercation, and one thing led to another. Now, what happened next it's kind of a blur to me. I'm
Over
still
some cooter?
hungover and still a little drunk, but one thing led to another.
Mm-hmm.
The first shot was from over 6 to 8 feet away.
That's Gary Owen,
Just a
ain't
big
it?
blur after that. She got in the middle.
I thought
of
that
the
was
fight.
Gary Owen.
It happened so fast.
Then Chuck turned to Denise. She screamed and tried to get away, but there was nowhere to go. Chuck told her, "I can shoot you too." While he reloaded,
shoot you
aimed
too,
and
bitch.
fired. The bullet hit her in the face.
She must have
and
had
through
money.
her cheek. It shattered her dentures, nearly severed her tongue, and caused catastrophic internal damage.
Dentures.
Denise dropped to the
Huh?
floor, badly hurt, but somehow she was still alive. At that exact moment, Catherine's son was heading out the door for school when he heard the gunshots. And not long after, Catherine heard pounding on her front door. When she stepped outside, she saw Denise on the ground, struggling to breathe and unable to speak. Denise lifted her hands and mimicked someone firing a gun, desperately trying to show Catherine what had just happened. When Deputy William Coker rushed back to the apartment complex, the calm from earlier was gone. Now it was chaos. William knelt beside Denise and asked, "Did Chuck shoot you?" And Denise nodded. When William looked up, Chuck was nowhere in sight.
Did she nod yes
he
or
had
no?
already fled the
Damn it.
scene. On his way out, he tossed the gun into a nearby creek and tried to disappear.
In the
But
creek.
he didn't go very far. Instead, he drove to the home of a friend, Diane Zernia, arriving as she was getting her daughter ready for school. She let him in, and Chuck sat down in the living room. You might expect him to be pacing, panicking, but instead, he did something almost unreal.
Smoked a
He
cigarette.
fell asleep.
Oh, shit.
After Diane's daughter
was
left
tired.
for school, the house
All this
went
killing
quiet.
and shit.
Diane turned on
A
the
lot
news.
of fucking work, let me
and
tell
that's
you.
when she saw it. A story about the shooting at Denise's apartment. She sat there watching while Chuck slept just a few feet away.
Did you put two and two
Then,
together?
hours later, he finally woke up.
Hours later, y'all.
Trying to break the tension, Diane made a joke about his black eye and said, "I hope the other guy looks worse." And Chuck answered, "He does. I shot him." He later called his father and told him what had happened. His father convinced him to turn himself in. And that same morning, Chuck walked into the police station and was arrested on the spot, initially charged with manslaughter.
You got to charge that lady that
Back
held
at the
him for hours
apartment,
too and let him
paramedics
sleep
had
it
done
off on the
everything
couch.
they
Come
could.
on now.
Darren was
You gotta
already
be fair
gone,
here.
while Denise was barely clinging to life. She was airlifted to Herman Hospital, where doctors struggled to save her. The gunshot had severely damaged her airway, and swelling made it hard to get a breathing tube in place.
Trach.
Despite all their efforts,
Tracheotomy.
Denise's body was failing, and she slipped into a coma.
Give her a trach.
A week later, with no hope of recovery, her family made the heartbreaking decision to
Take
remove
off.
life support.
Take off, man.
Denise died on May 6, 1998. Chuck didn't know it yet,
May
but
6th.
Denise's death
Lord
would
have
change
mercy.
everything for him. At his trial in 1999, Chuck admitted that he was the one who fired the shots. He didn't deny that. But his defense argued something unusual.
What's that?
They said that Denise's death wasn't actually Chuck's fault.
Oh.
According to them, the hospital was to blame.
Oh, okay.
Their medical expert, Dr. Paul
They
Radulov,
should have did a track.
testified that the staff at Herman Hospital made serious mistakes placing her breathing tube and that Denise went without oxygen for 5 to 10 minutes. That lack of oxygen, he said, caused brain damage. And
Oh,
led
not
to
the bullets
decision
that caused her to
take
be in the
off life
fucking
support.
hospital.
If the
what
hospital
the fuck?
hadn't made those mistakes, the defense claimed Denise might have survived, and Chuck would only be facing life in prison.
Shut the fuck up.
But
We're
the
going to juice his
prosecution
ass
hit
just for
back
you
hard.
trying that bullshit.
The medical examiner
Stupid.
and lead surgeon testified that
Did I?
Denise's wound was so severe that she was in immediate danger from the moment she was shot. Her tongue had been nearly severed, and that injury alone, they explained, was life-threatening. Even Dr. Radelat eventually admitted on cross-examination that Denise probably would have died without any medical treatment. Legally, that mattered. A lot. Under Texas law, a person can be held criminally responsible for a death if it wouldn't have happened but for their actions. In this case, the jury was
What
asked a simple
for
but crucial question.
their actions?
Would Denise have been
Important.
in the hospital fighting for her life if Chuck hadn't shot her
Absolutely
in the face?
not.
And their answer was clear.
Not on that day.
They concluded that it was Chuck's decision to pull the trigger and not anything the hospital did that was the true cause of her death. And because
Nah,
of that,
Chuck
he was
wasn't
eligible
responsible.
for the ultimate punishment.
Nah.
And on April 14th, 1999,
Nah, he wasn't
he
responsible.
received his final verdict.
That's all right, though.
Charles Victor Thompson
We're gonna juice
was
his
convicted
ass
of
anyway.
capital murder and sentenced to death.
Juice him!
During the sentencing phase, the prosecution had presented evidence that Chuck posed a future danger to society,
Sure did.
and they had proof. While Chuck was being held in the
Hey, I
Harris
sure
County
appreciate
Jail
that
awaiting
sub
trial,
in that like.
he didn't lay low.
One love.
Instead, he approached other inmates with a
John
disturbing
Public.
request. He wanted someone to kill Diane Zernia.
We got a new
the friend
family
he had
member, y'all.
confessed to
John
after
Public.
the
Y'all
shooting.
welcome in.
She could directly link him to the crime, and he wanted her silenced permanently.
Yeah.
An undercover
why we
investigator
gonna
named
silence
Gary
his
Johnson
ass.
posed as a hitman and met with Chuck in a visitor's booth wearing a hidden wire.
Dumbass. You wouldn't have got the bishop, I tell you that shit.
During their recorded conversation, Chuck offered him $1,500 to retrieve the gun from the creek and murder Diane.
Oh, okay.
He even drew a map to her house.
I want you to
described
get
her
going
family,
to the creek,
vehicles, and even the
get the
layout
gun,
of her home.
kill that
He helped this
bitch.
hitman carry out the job.
Oh, nigga, you getting the juice.
The evidence was devastating. Chuck wasn't just a man who had killed, he was trying to arrange another murder from behind bars.
You getting the juice.
In 2001, however, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals ruled that the undercover operation violated his Sixth Amendment rights.
What?
And they
Right.
overturned his death sentence. A new
Overturned?
sentencing trial was ordered. So, in
Oh, no, we got the
2005,
juice this son, bitch.
prosecutors had to prove Chuck's future
I'm
dangerousness
outraged.
all over again, this time without the undercover testimony. They called another jailhouse witness, Robin Rhodes, who testified that Chuck had given him a hit list of witnesses and told him to either kill them or convince them not to testify.
Gotcha again, bitch.
Even though the defense attacked Robin as a full-time informant who had worked with law enforcement in over 50 cases,
Right.
the jury believed him.
Oh, he a professional.
And on October
Informant.
28,
This nigga professional.
2005,
You got 50
Chuck was
cases on his
sentenced
belt.
to death for the second
We
time.
gonna juice your ass,
But
nigga, this
Chuck
time. You
wasn't
going.
finished yet.
Fuck out of here.
Just days after receiving his second death sentence, he pulled off one of the most audacious jail escapes
God damn.
in Texas history.
Let this son bitch escape.
Dragnet over Houston as police search for a convicted killer, a death row inmate.
We got to
who,
find this
they
son
say,
bitch.
simply walked out
Ah,
of
yeah, I'm
jail
outta here.
in Houston.
See you later, guys. How?
Thompson smuggled street clothes that he wore for a court appearance back to his jail cell, and then found a way to change in a booth like this one.
I know you
A booth
fucking
used
lying.
For meetings between attorneys and inmates.
Nah.
On
Nope.
November 3rd, 2005,
Nope.
Chuck was still being held in the Harris County Jail,
Nope.
waiting to be transferred to death row at the Polunsky unit in Livingston.
Nope.
But what no one knew was that he had been planning his escape for weeks.
Nope.
Inmates were allowed to keep a legal binder in their cells, and Chuck used his like a toolkit. Hidden inside were a handcuff key, a fake ID badge, and a full set of civilian clothes.
In a goddamn
khaki
cell.
pants, a dark blue shirt, and white tennis
What
shoes.
in the fuck?
That afternoon,
In
Chuck
a
told
binder?
guards he had a meeting with his attorney. They escorted him to a visitor room, cuffed
You
like any
lying.
other inmate.
You lying to me, motherfucker. He ain't had that shit in us. Let me
On
see the
November
binder.
3rd, 2005,
Let me see the
Chuck was
fucking
still
binder.
being held in the Harris County Jail,
Yeah.
waiting to be transferred to death row
Yeah.
at the Pulaski unit
Yeah,
in
fuck all that.
Livingston.
Let me see that binder.
But what no one knew was
That
that
he
he
had-
had been planning his escape.
Not them
for weeks.
shoes.
Inmates were allowed to keep a legal binder in their cells.
Okay, listen,
and
y'all.
Chuck used his...
That's the legal binder right there, y'all. Okay? I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but it's a 3-ring binder. I know if you went to school back in the motherfucking days, if you over 22, you ought to know what a fucking 3-ring binder is. They probably still sell them. I think they do. But now listen to the items. listen, y'all. Listen to what the fuck they want me to believe. You listening, y'all? They want me to believe that he had these following items in a 3-ring binder, y'all. Let's check it out. Let's see what he had. Because this motherfucker here was talented. I don't know if we should have killed him. This motherfucker could have changed the world with his talent. Listen.
Like a toolkit. Hidden inside were a handcuff key, fake ID
fake
badge,
ID,
and a full set of civilian clothes.
Full
Khaki
set
pants,
of clothes.
a dark
Pants,
shirt, and white tennis
shirt,
shoes.
and whoa.
That afternoon,
Wait a
Chuck
minute.
told
Wait a minute. Do you see the tennis shoes?
Inmates
Do
were
you
allowed
see
to keep
the
a legal binder
goddamn
in their
tennis
cells,
shoes
and Chuck
in that
used his
3-ring
like a
binder?
toolkit. Hidden inside were a handcuff key, a fake ID badge, and a full set of civilian clothes. Khaki pants, a dark blue shirt, and white tennis shoes.
Do y'all see them tennis shoes? You telling me you want me to believe they want us to believe that those were the contents of his 3-ring binder, y'all. Come on, man. Stop playing with me. 607, I'll say, stop playing with me, man. In a 3-ring binder.
That afternoon, Chuck told guards he had a meeting with his attorney. They escorted him to a visitor room, cuffed like any other inmate.
He told them, you got to be making this bullshit up. Listen, y'all, maybe I'm tripping. Did that man, listen, he told them, hey, I got a meeting with my goddamn attorney, okay? Get me to the attorney meeting with the inmates area, damn it. And there's, okay. Okay, let's get you to the fucking attorney meeting with the inmate area. They don't have the logs. I think when inmates have appointments, it's kind of logged, and the correction officer or detention officer or jailer comes to the inmate and be like, hey, motherfucker, you got to go meet with your attorney at 5. Ain't that how it works? I think they bullshitting me here. I smell some bullshit, y'all. But let's check it out. Let's see what the fuck they got to say. I don't like no bullshit.
But once he was alone, he slipped out of the handcuffs, changed clothes, and walked toward the exit.
Let's hear that again about how he told it.
In clothes, khaki pants, a dark blue shirt, and white tennis shoes. That afternoon, Chuck told guards he had a meeting with his attorney. They escorted him to a visitor room, cuffed like any other inmate. But once he was alone, he slipped out of the handcuffs, changed clothes, and walked toward the exit.
Oh, he had his binder because he was going
As
to
he
meet his
reached the
attorney.
jail
They didn't see them
checkpoints,
big-ass
guards
tennis
stopped
shoes
him,
sticking out
just
that
like they were
binder.
supposed to. But
They ain't
Chuck
see
didn't
that.
panic. He flashed the fake ID.
He had
badge,
Stevie
which
Wonder and
claimed
Ray
he
Charles
was a
escort
state
him to the
investigator
goddamn room.
with the Attorney General's office. And unbelievably, it worked. He repeated this 4 times, bluffing his way past guard after guard until he reached the front entrance. Then, just like that, he stepped through the door of a maximum security jail in broad daylight, and no one stopped him. Later, even he admitted he couldn't believe it. I was stunned that I made it out without being swarmed by deputies, he told reporters. Once he was free, Chuck hopped onto a freight train heading toward...
Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. It's for Chuck. Boy, you get the Willie D motherfucking crap for that shit, son. I ain't gonna lie to you. Goddamn, Chuck. We still gonna juice your bitch ass, but guess what? God damn it, we gonna give you the motherfucking Willie D clap of the day
East
on that
Texas
shit, boy.
spent the night in
I
his
ain't
open
bullshit.
box
He
truck,
did. He pulled that
then
shit
made
off,
his
y'all.
way to Shreveport, Louisiana. There, he stole a bike and pretended to be a Hurricane Katrina evacuee to get money from strangers, planning to collect enough cash.
John said they're the worst prison guards ever. Ever.
On November 6th, just 3 days after his escape, Chuck's freedom came to an end. Acting on a tip, police found Chuck intoxicated at a payphone outside a liquor store.
Tell y'all, man, stay away from the alcohol. That shit gonna fuck you up every time.
To arrange a wire transfer. He was arrested without a fight and sent back to Texas. For the next 20 years, Chuck sat on death row at the Polunsky unit, filing appeal after appeal, arguing ineffective counsel, improper evidence, and constitutional violations. But every court upheld the verdict and the sentence. Then, in 2021, the U.S. Supreme Court denied his final appeal.
Nigga, can we get to the juice on this motherfucker?
On September 11th, 2025.
September 11th.
His execution was scheduled for
20 and 25.
2026.
9/11.
That will be the first execution under the leadership of Harris County District Attorney Sean Tier.
Well, damn it, let's get it done.
To the families of Denise Hayslip and Darren Kane, the wait had been long and painful. 27 years had passed since that brutal night. When the death warrant was signed, friends and family of Darren were in the courtroom. And according to the prosecutor, they had been looking forward to this day very much.
Yo, D, let's go.
In the weeks leading up to his scheduled execution, Chuck gave interviews from death row.
Chuck D, let's get it.
Deep remorse for what he had done. It's tragic what
remorse,
happened, he said. I regret it. I have remorse. I want people to be able to heal and move past it.
John, how does he get that stuff in jail? Hey, listen, man.
Forgive me. But he also continued to insist that the hospital had some responsibility for Denise's death.
Nah, nigga, you gonna eat this.
If she had survived,
you gonna eat this, my
nigga.
nigga.
Sentence would have been life in prison, he said. On September 11th, Chuck was moved to Death Watch, an isolated cell at the Polunsky unit with a toilet, a sink, a metal bed, and a camera, monitoring him 24 hours a day.
He ain't got 24 hours.
5 days a week.
What do you mean?
That was his life now. Chuck talked to his parents often, but they hadn't visited in person in years. He had a daughter, now 34, and a son, 31. He and his daughter had stayed close.
Right.
But in his final days, it wasn't family sitting with him.
Who was it?
It was his pen pals. The day before his execution, one supporter sat with him in the visiting room for 9 hours.
Oh, wow.
And when the sun came up on January 28th, they came back.
Hey, let's get it.
They were there by 8 a.m., sitting with him again.
Hey, Chuck.
Everyone waited on a last-minute ruling from
the
Court of Criminal
it's not coming. Don't worry about it.
Even with a few hours left to live,
no need.
He was calm, steady, and still holding on to
hope. Okay.
Outside the prison, his pen pals were refreshing court dockets and news feeds.
What they should have done was put their pens away. God damn it, because we about to get this shit over with.
Under Texas law, inmates can no longer request a special
put your pens away, god damn it. We finna give him what? The juice.
And other items. By 6 p.m., he was strapped to the gurney. In his final words, Chuck turned to the families of his victims and asked them to find it in their hearts to forgive him.
We got
saying he hoped they could begin to heal and move past this.
Let's see. We're going to see in a minute. After we juice your ass, we're going to see how.
After a spiritual advisor prayed over him for several minutes, and just before the lethal dose of pentobarbital,
the juice,
he told the witnesses that his execution creates more victims and traumatizes more people.
Well, that's fine. We just gonna have to create more victims.
I'm sorry for what I did.
You gonna be the only victim today, motherfucker.
And I want to tell all of y'all I love you and to keep Jesus.
You gonna be the only victim today, nigga. Worry about the victims, boy. Okay?
As the injection began to
the juice,
Chuck took a series of heavy breaths. Then grew quiet and still. He was pronounced dead 22 minutes after the drugs started flowing. Charles Victor Thompson was 55 years old.
Hey, Chuck Houdini, let's see if you can pop up after we give you this motherfucking juice, goddammit. Let's see if you can escape death today, sir.
After spending more than 35 years on death row, Ronald Palmer Heath was executed by lethal injection.
Ronnie
was just 16 years old when he killed for the first time.
You up,
His
bro?
first victim was a man named Michael Lee Green. Ronnie stabbed him 23 times,
Jeez.
crushed his skull, and burned his car.
Glory to
He was
God.
convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 30 years, of which he served only 10. And when he got out in 1988, everyone assumed he had learned his lesson. But he
These
hadn't.
motherfuckers could do 8, 10 years.
His
Don't
release,
learn shit.
Ronnie killed a
Get
kid.
out, do the same dumb shit
But
they did to get
understand
in.
what happened, we need to go back to
Quita,
May
quita.
1989.
Quita,
and a man
quita.
named Michael Sheridan. Michael was 33 years old.
Shout out,
Probably
Quita,
salesman
Quita.
from out of town.
Shout
with a
Quita,
family back
Cooper.
home waiting for him. This was supposed
They miss
to be
you
a
over there in
routine
Atlanta,
business
girl.
trip in Gainesville, Florida. By all accounts, Michael was outgoing and easy to talk to. The kind of guy who would strike up a conversation with anyone. On the evening of May 23rd, 1989, Michael walked into the Purple Porpoise Lounge.
The Purple
a bar
Porpoise,
near the
y'all.
University of Florida campus.
The Purple
He
Porpoise,
was
y'all.
already a few drinks in and
What y'all
feeling
think going
social.
on in the Purple
But
Porpoise?
what Michael didn't know was that his friendliness was about to cost him his life. Because sitting in a booth just a few feet away were two brothers. And one of them had
We're
already killed
brothers.
before. Ronald Palmer Heath was 28, and his younger brother Kenneth was 24. Kenneth struck up a conversation with Michael. They talked about baseball, about life, about nothing in particular.
Why, though?
Michael was friendly, generous even. And then he made a gesture that would seal his fate. He offered to buy them drinks. And by the end of the night, Michael had paid the entire bar tab for both brothers with his credit card.
Gotcha, bitch!
Eventually, Michael asked Kenneth a simple question. Do you get high?
Uh-oh.
Do you have any marijuana?
You guys want
Kenneth
to party?
told him that his brother Ronnie did.
You guys want to
Here's the thing
party?
about Ronnie. He wasn't just
These
making
motherfuckers who
small
want to
talk.
party,
He
y'all.
was
You
watching,
got to tell
calculating.
them no.
Michael was wearing gold chains, a watch, and a bracelet.
Oh, we about to
He
get
was
this
clearly
nigga.
drunk. He was alone.
We about to
and he had
jukes his
just
ass
shown
real
that
quick.
He had money.
Money.
Ronnie pulled Kenneth aside and made a suggestion.
Hey, listen.
If they could get Michael to leave with them,
Hey,
they
if we
could
get
rob
this
him.
nigga out of here, we can
And
rob
Kenneth
his ass.
agreed,
You know that?
Just like that.
Ken? Huh?
The three men
What you
left
think,
the Purple
man?
Porpoise together shortly
The
after
Purple
midnight.
Porpoise.
They got into Kenneth's car with Ronnie behind the wheel and drove out of town. Michael thought they were going somewhere to smoke marijuana. He thought he was
shit.
making friends.
The
He
old,
had
that's,
no idea
the,
what
oh,
was
shit.
really about to happen.
That's dirty as hell.
Ronnie drove them to a remote dirt
You
road
made that
in
man think he
Alachua
gonna
County,
get some reefer?
far from any houses or
And he went and
streetlights.
got dead.
They parked, got out of the car, and lit a joint. Michael was relaxed, unsuspecting. But then Ronnie made a gesture, a motion with his hand, like he was holding a gun. And he said to Kenneth, "Did you get it?" Kenneth knew exactly what he meant. He reached under the car seat and pulled out a small caliber handgun. He pointed it directly at Michael and told him he was being robbed.
Hey, you being
He
robbed,
ordered
man.
Michael to hand over his wallet and
This is a
remove his
robbery.
jewelry.
Give me your wallet and your
Michael
jewelry.
looked at them in disbelief. Y'all aren't
Dude, we
serious,
just
are
smoked
you?
together, man. Come
But
on.
they were.
Well, you're
And when
just
Michael
serious,
refused to
man. Come on.
comply, when he said he wasn't going to give them
Dude,
anything,
come on.
Kenneth pulled the trigger.
They give you anything.
The
Oh,
bullet hit Michael in the chest.
oh,
He stumbled backward and sat down on the ground,
Oh.
clutching his wound, and he said that it hurt.
all for a joint, man.
But Ronnie,
Hey, man, this shit hurts,
He
man.
walked
You
over to
shot
Michael
me.
and demanded his
Yeah,
wallet,
nigga.
his chains, his watch.
For a
And
joint.
when Michael started to reach for his belongings, Ronnie began kicking him
Joint.
hard and repeatedly as he lay wounded on the ground.
Damn. Kick that
Ronnie
man after you done
stripped
shot him in
Michael
the
of
chest.
everything. His wallet, his gold chains, his watch. But there was
Stripped him.
one piece of jewelry he couldn't find.
Stripped him,
A
man.
bracelet he had seen earlier.
Mm.
Ronnie told Michael, "You give me the bracelet and we'll get you to a hospital."
Oh, wow.
But Michael couldn't give it. Either he didn't have it or he couldn't reach it in his condition. Frustrated, Ronnie walked back to the car. And when he returned, he was holding a hunting knife. He walked up to Michael and stabbed him in the neck.
Oh, this thing is
He
a
tried
savage,
to slit
son.
his throat, jabbing the blade in and attempting to cut, but the knife wasn't sharp enough. It didn't work. So Ronnie turned to Kenneth and gave him an order. Shoot him in the head.
Shoot him in
Kenneth
the head.
fired twice. 2 bullets entered Michael's
And
skull
Kenneth
from the
dumbass
front,
shot
just
him.
above his left eyebrow.
Kenneth a
And that was it.
goddamn puppet
Michael
for his big brother.
collapsed and died there in the dirt, all for a watch, some chains, and a wallet.
A watch, some
But the
chains,
brothers
and a
weren't
wallet.
done. They picked up Michael's body and carried it deeper into the woods, dumping it where they hoped it wouldn't be found for a long
Transporting the
time.
dead body.
Ronnie wiped the knife clean
Charge
and
you
put
with
it
that
back in the
shit, too.
car. Then they drove back to the Purple
Move that
Porpoise.
shit a half inch.
Michael's
you get
rental car was
transporting
still
car.
sitting in the parking lot. Ronnie handed Kenneth the keys and told him to follow. They drove the rental car to another remote dirt road, removed some items from the vehicle, cut the gas line.
The
and set it
Purple
on fire.
Porpoise.
They left the knife inside the burning car.
Sounds
The
like a
flames
gay
consumed
bar.
the
You
items.
damn right.
The next day, May 24th, 1989.
I'm glad somebody
Ronnie and
caught that
Kenneth
shit
went shopping
like the
night
fucking
in
Blue
Manhattan.
Oyster from
They
Police
drove to the
Academy.
Oaks Mall in Gainesville and spent the day buying clothes.
Why the fuck do I
shoes,
remember
and
that the
other
name of that
items
gay club was the
using
Blue
Michael's
Oyster, though?
stolen credit cards. Ronnie told
Oh, that's
Kenneth
kinda
to
weird.
sign all the receipts.
That's
because,
weird.
he said, Kenneth's handwriting was better and he might mess up if he did it himself. The brothers spent that night in Gainesville and continued their shopping spree the next morning.
Shopping spree.
But their luck ran out when a clerk at an audio store became suspicious and
Motherfuckers
started
went on a
asking
shopping
questions about the
spree,
card.
yo.
They couldn't answer.
Fuck.
Ronnie and Kenneth quickly
Some
left the
cold-blooded
store
shit.
and drove back to Jacksonville.
Kill some motherfuckers
On
and
the
go
way,
on a
they
shopping
stopped at the
spree.
St. Johns River and threw the handgun into the water. It was never recovered. Ronnie returned to the trailer in Douglas, Georgia, where he lived with his girlfriend, Penny Powell. And for a few weeks, it seemed like he had gotten away with it. But he was wrong.
Uh-oh, karma.
Michael's body was found 6 days after he was killed,
Karma.
on May 30th. It was in an advanced state of decomposition. The medical examiner, Dr. William Frank Hamilton, estimated that Michael had been dead for 3 to 10 days. He observed 3 gunshot wounds, 2 to the head and 1 to the torso, along with a sharp force injury to the neck. The wound to the torso alone was fatal, though not immediately. But it was the combination of the gunshot wounds and the stabbing that ultimately caused Michael's death.
Stabbing.
Investigators traced the credit card purchases back to the brothers, and store clerks identified Kenneth from photo lineups. Even though Ronnie was the one who had orchestrated the entire crime, the receipts all had Kenneth's signature. Several weeks after the murder, police arrested Ronnie at his trailer in Georgia. And when they searched it, they found multiple items purchased with Michael's credit card.
I think we gonna go ahead and
But there
juice
was
both
one
of these
piece of
motherfuckers.
evidence that would seal Ronnie's
Fuck
fate.
it. I think they both
Michael's stolen watch, the one Ronnie had ripped off a dying man's wrist.
dying man's wrist.
Both Ronnie and Kenneth were charged with first-degree murder,
Can we juice
armed
both of
robbery,
them?
and multiple forgery-related charges.
Can we juice both of them?
After his arrest, Kenneth made a deal. He agreed to
Just for
testify
his ears
against
looking like
older
that, can
brother
we juice
in
both of them?
exchange for a reduced sentence.
Cause them some ears right
In
there.
1990, he
Look at them
pleaded
ears,
guilty
yo.
to all charges
In
and
every
received
picture.
life
That
in
can't be
prison
him.
without eligibility for parole
Nah,
for
let's juice this
25 years.
motherfucker, man.
The judge's sentencing order noted that Kenneth had acted under the power of his older brother.
Nah, juice him, man.
Kenneth Heath remains in prison to this day.
Damn.
Ronnie went to trial in 1990.
Can we
and the
juice him at
prosecution
least?
presented overwhelming evidence.
We gotta juice
The credit
somebody.
card receipts, the testimony of store clerks who identified Kenneth, the stolen watch found in Ronnie's trailer, and most damning of all, Kenneth's detailed testimony about what happened that night. Kenneth admitted to pulling the trigger, but he painted a clear picture. Ronnie was the mastermind. Ronnie had suggested the robbery. Ronnie had driven to the remote location. Ronnie had kicked and stabbed Michael as he lay wounded.
Rodney qualified
And
for
Ronnie
that
had
juice,
ordered
in my
Kenneth
opinion.
to shoot Michael in the head.
Doing all that bullshit.
The defense tried to argue that Kenneth was the more culpable party, that Ronnie had only played a secondary role, but the jury didn't buy it.
Nope.
They found him guilty of first-degree murder,
Gotcha,
armed
bitch.
robbery, conspiracy to commit
Can
forgery,
we juice him?
7 counts of forgery, and 7 counts of uttering
Do
a
we
forgery.
qualify for the juice?
During the penalty phase, the jury heard about Ronnie's violent past, his conviction for second-degree murder at age 16, his decade in prison, and his release.
Oh,
just
nigga, you
6
getting
months
the
before
fucking
his
juice,
crime.
bro.
The prosecution argued that he posed a continuing danger to society.
That's right.
That he had been given a second chance.
We need
and
to
had
get rid of
immediately
this
returned
danger.
to violence.
Juice him.
The jury voted 10-2 to recommend the death penalty.
Juice.
And without hesitation, the judge agreed.
The damn
Ronald
juice.
Palmer Heath was sentenced to die in Florida's electric chair.
We're gonna get some justice. Oh,
For
the
next 35
electric
years,
juice. Oh,
Ronnie
shit.
sat on death row, filing appeal after appeal. His lawyers argued that the jury's non-unanimous recommendation violated his constitutional rights.
Oh,
That
we gonna
Kenneth's
blow a
testimony
fuse on this
had been
one. I know that's right.
incentivized and unreliable, and that the disparity between his sentence and Kenneth's, who had actually pulled the trigger, was fundamentally unfair. But every court that
I say we
reviewed his
use both
case
of them. That's
upheld
what
the
I'm saying.
conviction
It is
and
unfair.
sentence.
They
And
need to
in
both get the juice.
2026, his time was up. On February 10th, Ronnie's final day came. He woke up at 5:07 a.m. in his cell at Florida State Prison. In nearly every letter he wrote while on death watch, Ronnie asked the same thing. Please look after my mother. Later that day, 2 people came to say goodbye. His mother.
Hey, Riley, I ain't trying to be funny
He
now,
did
but
not
fuck
meet
your
with a
mama for
spiritual
having you,
advisor.
goddammit.
And when officials offered him a special last meal, he declined.
6'7", 6'7".
After 35 years on death row, Ronnie ate the same standard tray as every other inmate. At 6 p.m., the curtain to the execution chamber went up. Ronnie was already strapped to the gurney,
Strap him
an
in.
IV line inserted in his arm. The warden asked if he had any final words. Ronnie looked up and said, "I'm sorry, that's all I can say. Thank you." 35 years, and that was all he had. As the drugs began flowing, Ronnie
Wait,
showed
they said
little
electric
reaction.
chair for
He
Ronnie.
closed his eyes.
Juice him.
His breathing slowed, and then he was still. About 8 minutes later, a medic was called in. 2 minutes after that, at 6:12 p.m., Ronald Palmer Heath was pronounced dead. He was 64 years old. Just 2 days later, the next execution was carried out,
Oh, shit.
this time in Oklahoma. On February 12, 2026, after spending more than 18 years on death row, Kendrick Antonio Simpson was executed by lethal injection in Oklahoma. But the reason he ended up like this? Someone said something about his hat. That's all it took. A passing comment about a Chicago Cubs baseball cap inside a hip-hop club in Oklahoma City. By the end of that night, 2 men were dead, shot with an
Two.
AK-47 on a highway,
With an
and a
AK.
third barely survived.
Because
But this
of
wasn't just
a
a
diss
nightclub
on his
shooting.
hat.
What investigators later uncovered about Kendrick's
Damn.
past made
Gangster,
this case one
son.
of the most disturbing on Oklahoma's death
What you
row.
say about my hat, nigga?
This is what he did. It was the evening of January 15th, 2006.
My daddy's birthday.
26-year-old Kendrick and
My
2
daddy's
friends,
death day again.
Jonathan Dalton and Latango Robertson, were getting ready to go out to Fritzy's, a hip-hop club in Oklahoma City. But before they left, they stopped at
Fritzy's. I'm not
Kendrick's
going
house
to no
so he
goddamn
could
hip
change
hop club
clothes.
called no fucking
And
Fritzy's.
while he was inside,
Oh, hell no.
Kendrick grabbed something
Not without
else,
my heat.
an AK-47 assault rifle. The 3 men drove to a house party first, where they spent hours drinking alcohol.
What? They grabbed an AK-47 to go to a party. What? That don't even make sense. I could see you grabbing your 9, grabbing your 40. Nigga grabbed the AK-40. A whole AK-47 to go to a party? You fucking crazy. I know you fucking lying. Let's see what they saying now. Because that's the word on the street. That's what these niggas did. Let me see.
They could go out to Fritzy's, a hip-hop
Fritzy's
club
now. We
in
headed to
Oklahoma City.
a hip-hop club.
But before they left, they stopped at Kendrick's house so he could change clothes. And while he was inside, Kendrick grabbed something else, an AK-47 assault rifle. The 3 men drove to a house party first, where they spent hours drinking alcohol and using drugs. They didn't arrive at Fritzy's until
Alcohol
sometime
and
between
drugs.
midnight and 1 a.m. on January 16th. And once inside, Kendrick and Jonathan took ecstasy and got drinks. Jonathan and Latango sat down
They
at a
took
table
ecstasy
while
and
Kendrick
had
walked
alcohol.
around the club. As he moved through the crowd, he walked past 3 men he didn't know, London Johnson, Anthony Jones, and Glenn Palmer. They were close friends, had known each other since they were kids. Glenn was 20 years old, and Anthony was just 19. And as Kendrick passed them, one of them said something about the Chicago Cubs baseball cap he was wearing. It was a passing comment, nothing serious. But Kendrick didn't take it that way. He went back to his table and told Jonathan and Latango that some guy had given him a hard time about his cap.
Yo, man, this
Then
nigga
he
just
approached
dissed
the
me
3
about
men
my
again.
cap.
This time, his tone was different. He told them he was going to chop them up.
About to
street
chop,
slang
chop,
for
chop,
shooting
chop,
them
chop
with a
these
chopper,
niggas up,
an
son.
AK-47.
These niggas thought that shit
It
was
was a
funny.
direct threat.
Fuck.
And the 3 men heard it loud and clear.
I'm finna
But a few moments
ruin my
later,
life
he
because
walked
this
up to
fucking
Glenn,
hat.
acted like nothing happened,
Fuck that.
extended his hand, and
I don't
said,
like when people be
"We
playing
cool?"
in my face.
But Glenn didn't buy it. He hit Kendrick in the mouth, knocking him to the floor. Kendrick got up, walked back to his friends, and told them he wanted to leave. The three men left the club and ended up at a 7-Eleven on Northwest 23rd Street with some girls they had been talking to in the parking lot.
Oh, they stalked.
And as they sat in their Monte Carlo, another car pulled into the lot. A Chevy Caprice.
You know it was a Caprice.
Inside that Caprice were
You know it was a
London,
fucking
Anthony,
box Chevy.
and Glenn. Kendrick recognized Glenn
Them old
immediately
damn box
as the one who
Chevys,
had
boy, I
hit
tell
him
you.
at Fritzie's. Jonathan told Kendrick to chill out, but Kendrick wasn't listening. What happened next would be the reason he spent the rest of his life behind bars. When Glenn drove out of the parking lot and merged onto Interstate 44, Kendrick told Jonathan to follow them. As they drove behind the Caprice, Kendrick turned to Latango in the back seat and told him to hand over the gun. Latango hesitated.
Yo, let me get that chopper,
but Kendrick
son.
made it clear if he had to reach back and get it himself, there would be trouble.
Well, if I got to reach back and
Glenn
get that
exited
shit
the
myself, I'm
interstate
going to
onto
use it on you
Pennsylvania
too.
Avenue, and
Give me the
Jonathan
chopper.
followed. As they drove down Pennsylvania, Jonathan pulled the Monte Carlo into the left lane beside the Caprice. Glenn was driving, Anthony was in the front passenger seat, and London was in the back. And then Kendrick pointed the assault rifle out the open window and started firing. The shots came fast, about 20 rounds in rapid succession. London heard the gunfire and immediately dropped to the floor of the car. He didn't see the shooter, but he saw the white vehicle pull up beside them, and he heard the bullets tearing into the car. The Caprice jumped the curb, hit an electric pole and a fence, and came to a stop. Glenn had been shot in the chest, while Anthony took rounds to the side of his head and torso. Anthony was unconscious, but Glenn wasn't. He was still awake. He knew he had been shot, and he was terrified the shooters were going to come back and finish the job. London, trapped in the back seat with his dying friends, tried to give them CPR.
Nobody
but
had a
Glenn's
gun
breathing
to
grew
return
heavier
fire.
and slower, and London could only
In
sit
a box
there and
Chevy?
watch as
Somebody
his
had a
best
gun,
friend
nigga.
slipped away.
They in a box
London
Chevy. Somebody
flagged down
got the
a
heat.
passing car and asked the driver to get help.
They
But
was
by
too
the time
drunk to get
paramedics
to it.
arrived, it was too late. Glenn and Anthony died right there on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, let me ask y'all a question
They
real
had
quick.
walked into that club a few hours
Hold on,
earlier
let me stop
with
this
their
shit.
whole lives ahead of them.
Let me
not
stop
knowing
this
they
shit
would
real
be
quick.
dead
Let me ask
out.
y'all a question. You mean to tell me that these niggas riding around in a box Chevy Caprice, 3 niggas, and nobody had the heat? I said a box Chevy. It's a prerequisite that you got at least one illegal gun when you own a box Chevy. Come on, man. That's common knowledge. Stop playing with me. Stop fucking playing with me. They was too drunk to get to that shit. That's what it was. And they paid for that shit.
Hours later, all because of a dispute over a baseball cap.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, back in the Monte Carlo, Kendrick said, "I'm a monster. I just shot the car up." But then he added, "They shouldn't play with me like that." Jonathan kept driving until they reached his house in Midwest City. There, they dropped off the gun, switched cars, and went to meet the girls from Fritzie's.
Oh, they
acting
gonna
like
continue
nothing
with
had
their
happened.
night.
But the police quickly identified Kendrick as the shooter, and Latango and Jonathan were arrested as accessories. Both eventually pleaded
As they
guilty
should.
and were sentenced to 20 years in prison. They served 6 years each before being released.
Oh, Kendrick getting the
Kendrick
juice.
wouldn't get away that easy, though. During his trial in 2007,
What you get?
prosecutors weren't offering any deals.
Can we give him the
They
juice?
made it clear from the start that in their eyes, only one sentence would be enough: death.
The juice!
But this wasn't the first time Kendrick had pointed a gun at someone and pulled the trigger. And what came out during
It's the
sentencing
last. I bet you that
changed
shit,
how the
'cause we gonna
jury
juice
saw
his ass.
everything. The defense argued Kendrick suffered from severe PTSD.
He gonna suffer
that
from a
he had
severe case
magnified
of
the threat
death
from Glenn and
from
the
the
others
juice in a
because
little
he was
while. Hold on.
hypervigilant and paranoid. And to understand why, they took the jury back to the beginning. Kendrick, who fled to Oklahoma as a Hurricane Katrina refugee in 2005, was born in New Orleans in 1980.
Should've
He
stayed
grew
there.
up surrounded by drugs and violence. He was brutally assaulted as a child, and when he turned 16, a friend asked him to kill a government witness. Kendrick refused. And because of that refusal, the friend ambushed him and shot him 5 times. He spent 2 months in the hospital, much of it in a coma. And over the next 7 months, he underwent 16 surgeries. The trauma left him paranoid and hypervigilant, and a psychologist diagnosed him with PTSD. But the jury
Well, the
would
trauma
later
from that
hear
juice
something
gonna leave
during
him dead.
sentencing that made the PTSD
Dead as
defense
fuck.
almost irrelevant. Before the murders
That
at
juice
Fritzie's,
gonna really traumatize
Kendrick
his
and
ass.
2 other men had forced their way into the home of a man named Hung Pam.
Hung Pam.
Kendrick had shoved a gun in Hung's face, then beat him with it, and forced him into a bathroom closet, demanding money.
Well,
But when Hung told them there was nothing left, Kendrick raised the gun and shot him in the head at point-blank range.
and that's
Then
where
the 3
he
men
fucked
walked
up.
out, leaving Hung on the bathroom floor,
Yep.
bleeding and unconscious.
I hope he ain't stepping in
Against
blood.
all odds, Hung survived.
What?
Kendrick was convicted
Go
for that robbery
Hung.
and sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. But he was released early, just months before
And
the
that's
night
where
at
they
Fritzie's.
fucked up at right there.
Now, in the sentencing phase of the murder trial, Hung Pham took the stand. He described how Kendrick had beaten him with a gun and shot him in the head. "He hurt me a lot," he said. "I remember forever." The prosecution also called a jailhouse informant named Roy Collins.
Now he can't do no
Roy
more ninja
testified
kicks
that
or
Kendrick
nothing.
had tried
Fucked
to
him all
hire
the
him
way up.
to kill London
Give
and
this
assault
bastard
2
the
pregnant
juice.
women who were state witnesses. He said Kendrick would smile and laugh when talking about the murders
Oh, he
and
need
thought
the
he was a
juice.
gangster,
He
like
need the
Tupac
juice.
or Biggie Smalls. And that Kendrick told him he couldn't believe the victims' families were crying
That nigga needs
because the
juice.
victims were victims.
Gotta juice
That's the
his
life
ass.
they lived. That's the life they chose.
Juice this bastard.
The jury found him guilty of first-degree murder for both Glenn Palmer and Anthony Jones,
Certainly we
as
gotta
well as
juice this
discharging a
motherfucker.
firearm with intent to kill London Johnson. They found 4 aggravating factors. Kendrick had a prior violent felony conviction.
The juice.
He had knowingly created a great risk of death
The
to
juice.
more than one person. The murders were especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel.
Juice, juice,
And there was a
juice.
probability that he would commit future acts of violence. They voted unanimously to recommend the death penalty.
The
And the
juice.
judge agreed.
Come on, baby.
Kendrick Antonio Simpson was sentenced to die by lethal injection.
Kitty, we holla at you, man.
For the next 18 years, Kendrick sat on death row at the Oklahoma State
18 years they
Penitentiary in
paid his way
McAllister.
in
And during
Oklahoma.
that time,
Taxes.
something changed, or so they said.
What happened?
He earned his GED, took college courses,
Excellent.
and became an award-winning poet.
Excellent.
He also maintained close
that
relationships
shit
with
in
his
his coffin.
family, including his sons, who said he had stayed a part of their lives despite being in prison.
Uh-huh.
Over those 18 years, Kendrick came to terms with what he had done.
Oh.
"I'm responsible for their deaths," he said.
Uh-huh.
"I don't make any excuses.
Right.
I don't blame others, and they didn't deserve what happened to them.
Okay, we still
I'm
gonna
ashamed
juice
of
your ass.
causing much pain and hurt, the type of pain and hurt that lives forever."
Well, we about to give
But
you
none of that
pain
changed
that's
what
gonna
happened.
live for about
And
10
in
minutes.
2026, his death warrant was signed.
Yes.
On January 14th, Kendrick
juice.
appeared before the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board via video conference from death row.
Uh-huh.
I'm ashamed of my actions. I'm ashamed of the destruction my actions caused. I'm ashamed of being a murderer.
He also added, "I'm not the worst of the worst. I'm not a monster." Remember what he said in that car 18 years earlier? "I'm a monster." Now he stood before the board saying, "I'm not a monster." Whether the change was real or performed, only he knows.
Right.
But the victims' families were also there.
It don't
And
matter,
they saw
actually.
it differently.
Cause we
He was
finna juice
literally
your
a
ass, sir.
monster in that nightclub looking for somebody's life to take, said Crystal Allison, Glenn's sister. "My brothers meant the world to me. They were the stars of the family. They were the center of our family."
And
London
you took 'em
Johnson,
away.
the sole survivor, told the board,
Part of me died in that car as well.
No.
That was
Marty, you
my
gonna
best
die in that
friend, my
motherfucking
brother.
cell though, baby. When
he
we do
added,
what?
"So many
When we
endless
hit you
tears
with
and
that
sleepless nights of images of my
juice.
friends laying
Juice
there
'em
bleeding
up,
out,
baby."
suffering." But Kendrick's attorney asked for mercy.
Mercy?
Does not absolve him from his responsibility.
Yeah, you a monster,
Does
is what you
provide
said.
Context for the actions
Monsters don't
and ways of
qualify for
action.
mercy.
The board voted 3-2 to deny clemency.
That's a
and
win.
Governor Kevin Stitt
That's a win.
upheld the decision.
Yep.
Clemency is denied.
You gotta go.
The execution would proceed as scheduled. What do you think? Did Kendrick deserve a second chance, or was the death penalty the right call? On February 12th, 2026, his final day came.
I don't
For his
question the
last
government,
meal,
man.
Kendrick requested a bacon cheeseburger, large
I don't
onion
question the
rings,
government.
and a strawberry milkshake. Just before 10 a.m., he was strapped to the gurney. When asked for his final words, he looked at the people who had come to support him and said, "Love y'all. Thanks for being here to support me. That's it."
That's
He
all.
didn't say anything about Glenn. He didn't say anything about Anthony. And he didn't say a word to their families. His spiritual advisor began reading from the Bible. Kendrick closed his eyes. Then he opened them one last time, looked at his supporters, smiled, and gave them a thumbs up. He was given a 3-drug lethal injection.
He
The
got
first,
2
a
teardrops
sedative.
on his
The
under his
second,
eye for
to
the
stop
2
his
bodies
breathing.
he had.
And the third
Juice
to
his
stop
ass.
his heart. By 10:12, he was unconscious. 2 tears fell from his left eye and rolled over the 2
That's
teardrop
ironic because he
tattoos
got
on his
2
cheek.
teardrops under
He
his
was
left eye.
pronounced dead at 10:19 a.m.
Strange.
Kendrick Antonio Simpson was 45 years old. The last execution of the month took place on February 24th. After spending almost 40 years on death row, Melvin Troder was executed by lethal injection in Florida.
Oh, Mel, we'll
The
talk to
reason he
you.
ended up there? $100. He walked into a 70-year-old woman's grocery store, left her for dead on the floor of her own shop, and walked out with $100 and some food stamps.
A Hondo, y'all.
But the woman he left behind, she wasn't dead. And the one mistake he made walking through that door, it was right there on his chest the entire time. It was a Monday afternoon, June 16th, 1986.
June
70-year-old
16th.
Virgie Langford was alone inside Langford's grocery store in
These
Palmetto,
dates
Florida.
are too much for
She
me.
had owned and operated the
One
store
day
for years.
before
It was her livelihood, her
my
identity,
man's birthday.
and a fixture in the community. The last customer had gone for the day, and the store was quiet.
I gotta stop
But
playing these
someone was
numbers,
watching.
man.
25-year-old Melvin Troder had been waiting outside for exactly this moment.
Stalk.
Melvin was already on community control, a form of strict supervised release for a prior robbery and burglary conviction. But it didn't seem like he had learned his lesson.
616.
He was broke, and he was addicted. And he needed money, fast. He was wearing a Tropicana employee badge with the name Melvin on it.
Melvin.
His own first name, right there on his chest.
Melvin.
And as soon as the last customer
Mel.
was gone, he walked inside. He immediately grabbed Virgie by the neck and forced her toward the back of the store. He
With his
reached
name
for a
tag on.
16-inch butcher knife taken from the store itself and stabbed her 7 times. He cut 8 inches deep into her abdomen, disemboweling her. But Virgie was still conscious, and while she lay there, bleeding on the floor of her own store, Melvin walked to the register, emptied it, and left. But how he spent the next few hours and what Virgie did before she died is what eventually put him on death row. A woman named Eleanor Oates later testified that she saw Melvin running from the direction of Langford's store that afternoon.
Oh, that was Melvin.
He asked her where to buy it. She
Who the hell was
went
that?
to
That
buy
ain't got this shit.
and
Oh,
the
that was
two of
Melvin.
them went back to
That
his
Melvin.
mother's house where
Yeah,
they
Melvin.
spent the rest of
He
the
had blood all over his
afternoon
ass,
smoking
too, Melvin.
and watching television.
How you know it was Melvin?
Oates
What
said
his
that
goddamn
Melvin
name
had
tag
money
say?
and food stamps tied up in a red bandana. And when she asked
You
where
can't
he got
make
them,
this
he
shit
told
up.
her he had gotten the money for doing a job. Meanwhile, a truck driver walked into Langford's grocery and found Virgie lying on the floor, bleeding. She was rushed to the hospital and taken into emergency surgery. And despite everything she had just been through, she was conscious long enough to describe her attacker to police,
It was
including
Melvin.
the Tropicana badge with the name Melvin.
It was Melvin from Tropicana.
But the damage was too severe.
The juice.
Hours after surgery,
Ironic.
Virgie
His
Langford died of cardiac
Tropicana is on
arrest.
his badge and he
She was
gonna get
70
the
years
juice,
old.
goddammit.
The police moved quickly. With Virgie's description and the name on the badge,
Old Virgie gonna
investigators
set his ass up
identified
good.
Melvin Troder as a suspect. They searched his home and found a T-shirt stained with blood matching Virgie's type.
God
And
damn.
at the store, forensic teams lifted a handprint from the meat cooler that matched his.
God
He was
damn.
arrested and charged with first-degree murder, robbery with a deadly weapon, and burglary. But what came out at trial about the life that led him to that store would divide the jury and then do something the defense never expected.
Well, we can't juice him for that. She
Melvin was
ain't died.
born as the result of... He never knew his father,
He
and
was
his mother
born
was an
as a
alcoholic
result of
who was physically
GRAPE,
abusive and emotionally absent. When he was 9 years old, the state stepped in and placed him in foster care. But that didn't bring stability. His foster father was eventually jailed for aggravated battery. leaving Melvin to be raised solely by his foster mother. The one bright spot in his life was his sister, the only close family relationship he ever had.
That's all he had.
But when Melvin was in his late teens, she was shot and killed. Whatever anchor he had left was gone.
I'm kind of thinking it should have been
After
Melvin.
his
It
arrest,
should have
a
been shot and killed.
psychiatrist evaluated
So we wouldn't have had to
Melvin
juice
and
him.
found an IQ of 72.
72.
Placing him in the range of a slow learner.
Damn.
The
Of a
psychiatrist
retard.
concluded that Melvin had impaired common sense, couldn't plan ahead, and struggled to understand the consequences of his own behavior. He noted that Melvin wouldn't typically become violent unless he felt he was in danger, and that his cocaine use could distort his sense of
The
reality.
cocaine use distorted
Another
his sense of
expert
reality,
later
y'all.
calculated Melvin's mental age at the time of
It was the
crime
cocaine.
as 12 years and 8 months. His attorneys laid all of it out in front of the jury.
Right?
But underneath the sympathy was a detail that complicated everything.
Yeah, we don't give
The
a fuck.
state had already tried to help him. Melvin
Oh.
had a prior conviction for robbery and burglary.
Uh-oh.
And instead of sending him to prison, the courts placed him on community control.
Oh, that's
supervised
that Sally
release.
port right there, son. That
That
Sally port is
Tropicana
dangerous.
job, the one whose badge he wore into Langford's store.
Once you get in
he
that
had
Sally
gotten
port,
while
you
he was on
fucked.
it.
You're an
The
inmate.
system gave him a
Even
second
if you're a
chance.
worker.
He used both the freedom and the badge to find a 70-year-old woman alone in a store.
His Tropicana badge.
At trial in May 1987, the jury
Man, totally
found him guilty
misrepresented
on
the
all
Tropicana
counts.
company, man.
The trial court found several mitigating factors, including his below-average IQ, his history of developmental problems, that he was under extreme emotional disturbance, and that he had shown remorse. But the jury still recommended death by a vote of 9-3. The judge agreed, citing 4 aggravating circumstances. Melvin was under community control at the time of the murder. He had a prior violent felony conviction. The murder was committed during a robbery, and the crime was especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel.
Let's juice him. Fuck
But a
it.
ruling from Florida's Supreme
Juice
Court
this
was about to
motherfucker.
change everything,
Uh-oh.
at least for a while.
Why?
On appeal, the Florida Supreme Court ruled in Melvin's favor.
What?
They found that community control was not the same as a sentence of imprisonment
What
under the law,
the
which
fuck?
meant one of the aggravating factors shouldn't have been used. They
Oh, that's
threw
some
out his
bullshit.
death sentence and ordered a new sentence.
Oh, nah, there's some bullshit here.
But then something unusual.
Oh, hell no.
Before the new hearing could even be scheduled,
What happened?
the Florida legislature changed the law to
Okay.
specifically
All right.
include
Donald Trump
community
fixed that
control
shit, I'm sure.
as an aggravating factor.
Let's get this nigga up out of here.
Exactly the factor the Supreme Court had just ruled couldn't be used against Melvin. Now it could.
Well,
And at the resentencing, members of Virgie's family took the stand.
we back on.
They described who she was, what she meant to her community, and the kind of person she had been. A
Virgie?
warm and loving person.
Virgie?
The new jury heard all of it. And this time, the result was even more decisive.
Yeah.
They recommended death by a vote of 11
Yeah,
to
we
1.
gonna go ahead and juice this son.
Melvin's
We was
attorneys
right the
appealed
first time,
again,
I'm saying.
arguing the new law had been applied retroactively and violated
Fuck
his
them laws. We're gonna go ahead and
constitutional
get you set up,
rights. And
Melvin.
the Florida Supreme
for the
Court
juice
did
program.
something they almost never
Get
do.
you a dose of that
They
juice.
reversed their own earlier ruling, the one that had saved Melvin's life,
No,
and
that's the
declared
one
that
that's
the
gonna end
original
it.
trial had been error-free all along. The decision that had spared him, they took it back.
Yeah, we're gonna go
His
ahead and
death
resend this
sentence
shit.
Stood.
We're gonna resend
What
this
do you
shit right
think?
now so we don't
Did
fuck
Melvin
up.
deserve to be executed?
So we don't fuck
Or
up
should
again
his
like
background
this.
have been enough to spare his life? Let us know in the comments.
It don't matter. Melvin
For
gone.
nearly 40 years,
Shit.
Melvin Troder sat on Florida's death row. In all that time, he received a single disciplinary write-up. Just one, for spoken threats in 1995. Other than that, nothing. He was one of the longest-serving
Well, he can't
inmates
threaten
on the
nobody
road.
else.
Then, on January 23rd, 2026,
Let's get it.
Governor Ron DeSantis signed his death warrant.
Hey,
Melvin's attorneys
hey,
immediately
hey.
filed appeals. They challenged Florida's lethal injection protocol,
Por qué?
arguing the Department of Corrections had repeatedly used expired drugs, prepared incorrect dosages,
It don't matter,
and
man.
administered drugs outside the written
What the
protocol.
fuck does it matter if the
According
shit's
to the
expired if
state's
it's
own
taking your
records,
ass up out of
the
here
department
anyway?
had used expired
Long as the shit
convicts
work,
in at
we
least
don't give
4
a fuck
executions in
if it expired in
2025.
1950.
His lawyers asked the courts to stay the execution
No.
until an independent investigation could be
No,
conducted.
no.
They also argued that executing a 65-year-old man amounted to cruel and unusual
Shut the
punishment.
fuck up. Denied.
Florida law provides enhanced protections for people over 65.
Denied. We should have fucked you up. We should have killed your ass when you was 45. We fucked up and held you for all these goddamn years.
No exception.
Shit.
The Florida Supreme Court rejected both arguments.
The juice.
They ruled that Melvin had failed to prove the lethal injection posed a substantial risk of needless suffering.
Denied.
And that age-based exemptions only apply to people who were under 18 at the time of their crime. For the family of Virgie Langford, none of that mattered.
The juice.
On June 16th, 1986, a man walked into her store and took everything.
The juice.
For $100 and a few food stamps, tied up in a red bandana. On February 24th, 2026, Melvin's final day came.
Oh, shit.
He woke up at 3:20
2 days
in the
ago.
morning,
Oh,
and
wait a minute.
according
When
to
was
the
the
Department
24th?
of Corrections, he
Oh, we
remained
just...
compliant throughout the
This
day.
is a fresh one here,
He
yo.
had one visitor, but did not meet with a spiritual advisor. For his last meal, Melvin requested fish, rice, cornbread, an omelet, cake, and a soda. At 6 p.m.
Yeah, we ain't give you no
execution
fucking cake.
chamber
You got the
went
rest
up.
of that shit.
Melvin was already strapped to the gurney, an IV line inserted in his
Juice
arm.
time.
As for his final words, Melvin declined to give a statement. No apology, no explanation. Then, 2 minutes later, the drugs began to flow. Within minutes, his breathing grew heavy. His body twitched. And then it slowed. The warden walked over, checked his face,
He did.
and shouted his name. There was
Melvin!
no reaction. A medic was called
Melvin!
in at 6:14. Melvin Troder was
Melvin!
pronounced dead at 6:15 p.m.
Melvin
He
dead.
was 65 years old.
65.
That concludes all executions.
Hey, look here,
carried
y'all.
out in January and February
That concludes
2026.
this commentary for the night. And let me ask y'all a question, man.
Check out the next one, because
I presented this content to you here to ask you one question. What are your thoughts on the death penalty? Like, comment, share, subscribe. I appreciate y'all for fucking with your boy tonight. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all for messing with your boy tonight. Let me talk to my top fans real quick. Let me see. We got 12 of them. We got Minister Steele. Shout out to you coming in at the number 12 position. John Q. Public coming in at number 11. At the number 10 spot, we got Teresa Jones. Teresa Jones. Number 9. We got Yolanda's rude ass. Yolanda Hope coming in here telling me to shut up in my goddamn broadcast. The nerve of you, girl. Blessings to you. I hope you hit that goddamn subscribe button along with that notification bell, too, with all your goddamn complaints. Can you shut up, Bishop? She didn't say shut up. But can you be quiet so we can hear the documentary? People, every time they slap you, they like to put LOL after the slap and shit. I don't like that shit. Coming in at number 8, we got John Blaze. Appreciate you for stopping by, John Blaze. Number 7, we got old faithful, old loyal Deaconess Janine Lomax. Shout out Deaconess Lomax. Number 6, we got Mike, WR9PK. Shout out to Mike. Welcome to the family. Seth, welcome back. Boy, you've been missing too long. Won't be staying away that long now. Shantae, number 4. Coming in number 4 spot is Shantae. That's Simba over there. He loves playing with that fucking ball. Thought I crushed all them shits, but I didn't. I know they done almost broke my goddamn neck a few times. Victor came in, threw his peace sign up real quick. And see, I have a diverse community here. I got black, white, Indians, Mexicans. I got everybody. Mexicans. Where the fuck Aztec been? Aztec been missing in action for the last 2 motherfucking days. Gotta check on Aztec. Coming into number 2 spot, we got Selena. Solar Shosha. Solar Shosha. Sure appreciate you, Solar Shosha. And at the number 1 spot, we got Mimi. And that's it for the night, y'all. Blessings to all of y'all. I appreciate y'all for fucking with your boy. Listen, man. What are your thoughts on the death penalty? Put them in the comment section below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when I drop new content. Until the next one, listen, y'all, be good to yourselves, be good to others, and protect and maintain your peace at all costs. Hit that Cash App if you feel so led. Cash App is $BISHLO. No contribution is too small, and they are all appreciated. So until the next one, y'all, I'm gone. Church.